We're live.
Hello, and welcome to Xbox International Podcast. We are in flight 61. Man, today has been such a beautiful, gorgeous day. I mean, I am so happy because after I read this thing here, it says it's CMA approved unless something happened. What happened though, Sourblow? Can you tell us what happened today? Today has been what? I mean, you said CMA
Well,
approved what?
what happened is my thumbnail kind of backfired on me, but
Oh,
I am still celebrating.
oh, you're still celebrating? Okay, you lucky man. I know what you're celebrating. You're celebrating that the Celtics suck. But either way, though, we're happy that you're celebrating. And man, today has been one crazy, messy day. I mean, look, we have the Eternal Shaddai here. Eternal Shaddai, my brother from Puerto Rico. Oh, did he leave though? Oh, I think they let
No,
him. You
I'm
here?
here. But
Oh,
for some,
he
for,
was
for
saying.
some reason, it looked like it's buffering. So if I take out the camera, it actually runs
Oh.
better.
Oh, that's because you're wearing that Bills hat. But anyways, my brother Eternal Shaddai, how are you doing today, sir?
I am doing really well. How about you? Since you don't have no sports,
Oh, what do you mean I
you
Oh,
don't
have no
follow no
sport?
sports.
What? I follow wrestling and I follow baseball. Those are my two sports.
That
wrestling
is
is
not
not a
sport.
sport.
Wrestling is not a sport.
College wrestling is a sport. Ah,
You
see.
know you did not meant that.
Oh, I know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I know. I'm only messing around a bit, guys. But anyways, speaking about being a sport, look who's here, our PlayStation man who had to return his PlayStation because of Returnal. How are you doing today,
Oh.
Ascap? I hope you're doing awesome, man.
You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, you're
Ascap.
unmuted.
Ascap is muted.
Damn it. Sorry for that. Thank you for inviting me, guys.
The PlayStation jitters.
I tell you that. I mean, the man 2 weeks ago got mad at Xbox and said, "Let me switch to PS5." And now today he posted on Twitter saying, "Damn it, my PlayStation is giving me problems with Returnal. I'm gonna have to return it." That's what happens when you are mean to Xbox. You can't be mean to Xbox. You gotta always be
What?
happy with Xbox.
Oh boy.
I'm telling you.
Bro, I'm not mean. Okay.
We're gonna talk
I
about
was,
that crazy.
I was a
We're
little
gonna
bit
talk
mean.
about
Oh,
that. So,
yeah, we will talk
Casey,
about
get
that.
through
We'll
the
talk about.
intros.
Oh yeah, let me get to the intros. But anyways, Sourblow, how you doing today, sir? And Celtics suck. How are you, bro?
crazy. You're this close to getting a timeout.
Oh really?
This
I
close.
haven't
But
seen a timeout in a while. I think we should.
yeah,
do that.
yeah, we definitely
overdue.
we should time them out. Like I'm adding them all up, so it could be like for a whole episode. But anyway, hi everyone. I'm doing fine. I'm doing fine. Unfortunately, we got some bad news on the Xbox side, but happy to be here. Happy to have the whole crew here, and we have some special announcements to make today. So pretty excited about that.
Really? Oh man, that's so cool. I'm excited too. And speaking of being excited, Mr. Plume, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing great. The sun's out. Everyone in my house is healthy. My dog is super cute, and it was a big day in news, so a lot of stuff to talk about. So I'm doing great. Happy to be here.
Oh, good. And speaking about beer, let's talk about the man with all the beers, Mr. Silent Cypher. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, I'm doing great, baby. I'm doing fantastic. Although I've been on media blackout for the last like 24 hours. So, did anything cool happen? Did I miss anything?
Oh man, it was a big mess
Not
today,
much.
man. You know what happened today since this morning. We still gotta
It's
talk
okay.
about this.
I'll catch up on it later. I don't care.
Okay. All right.
But
no
no,
problem.
seriously, very happy to be here. Very excited to have Shaddai and Ascab on here, and Plume. We have the whole family here right now,
Yes,
which is
we
pretty
do.
cool.
Yes, we do.
So
Yes, we do.
I'm pretty stoked. But yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah, let's get it. Let's get rolling this thing, baby. Let me ask everybody what's been playing except for Ascap because since he switched to PlayStation, we don't care. No, I'm just kidding. Ascap, what have you been playing, brother?
Wait, who did you ask?
Ascap. Did
Oh,
Ascap?
okay.
Oh, thank you for asking. I just finished Ghostwire on PS5. I'm playing Octopath Traveler 2 in my Steam Deck. And, well, I was planning to start playing Star Wars this weekend, but my PS5 unit got returned. So
Oh, see, well, we will talk about that later. But anyways, Eternal Shaddai. Tell me, what have you been playing, sir? I was about to say how you doing. I already asked that, but what have you been playing, sir?
Yeah, I've been playing Torchlight from the 360. Something was like I got curious, so I went backtrack. But at the same time, I've been playing Max Payne 2 from the OG time. So I'm pretty much back and forth, streaming on Tuesdays, Max Payne 2 and Torchlight. And pretty soon, I'm gonna be playing Wanted Dead. So I wanted
Nice.
to see. Let's see how it goes.
Nice, nice, nice. And let's go to the man in the corner over there, Mr. Sourblow, the Celtics fan. What have you been playing, sir?
Well, I've been playing Ghostwire Tokyo. I've been enjoying it. Also been playing a little bit of what's it called? Blue Dragon. And I decided to jump back into Gears of War. Well, not Gears of War, Gears 5. And I actually, because like both times that I've been playing it, I was playing it first with my brother, and he left. Then I was playing with my friend Carlos, and then he kind of left. So I decided, I was gonna play by myself, and just
Are you
go
used
through.
to that?
And yeah, and yesterday, while I was playing it, I jumped in a party chat with our friend Sickle Cell, aka Jay Vargas, and he told me that him himself, he got to a certain point in Gears 5 that he couldn't actually beat it. And then, he told me, if you want, I can jump in and all that. So he jumped in, and curiously enough, I was close to that same exact spot that, he couldn't get through. And then he jumped in, we went through it together, and, we we're planning on playing it together. So hopefully he doesn't dump me. Hopefully we go the whole way. So yeah, that's what I've been playing. How about you, Crazy?
I haven't played nothing. Can you believe that? I've been so busy. I haven't played nothing this week. But last week I beat Resident Evil 4, which is pretty good. But yeah, I've been a little bit. Uh, It's just a bunch of things going on in life, busy stuff. But man, I have not played yet. But soon, tomorrow, I'm thinking about playing Demonologist. So tune in tomorrow night because I will play that game so everybody can laugh. I'm gonna be jumping up and down, being scared like I always do. But yes, that's my next game. But anyways, Mr. Big Plume, what have you been playing, sir?
I've been this last week or so. I've jumped back into Hogwarts Legacy. I'm like 25, 30 hours into it, going back and just trying to finish it up. And I mean, incredible, absolutely incredible game. Just really big, and it fell back into my backlog with all the other stuff that was coming. So really awesome that I jumped back into that and enjoying just like the open world and exploring and doing all the quests and stuff. And then I've been playing Speedstorm, which is a kart racer game. It's supposed to be free to play, but like right now you can like pay like $30 or whatever to get early access, and it's a lot of fun. Kind of gets a little annoying with all the microtransaction stuff that they have in there, but like as like a kart racer, I love kart racers. It's a really fun game.
All right, cool stuff, cool stuff. And I know what Silent Cypher has been playing, but I'm just gonna let him say it because he's been loving it. Silent, tell everybody what you've been playing, sir.
Pokemon Sword and Shield.
Oh, you're gonna get Sourblow.
Yes. Yeah, I've got a level 72 Raichu, and I'm in Viridian City now, and I'm about to fight Gary. And it's going really good. So. No, I have been playing. God, I haven't been playing any more Callisto Protocol, but I did start Resident Evil 4. What else have I been playing? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. What games have I been playing?
I know you've been playing something about an
What?
island.
Yes.
Lost,
Oh yes, that's right. Dead Island 2.
Yeah.
Sorry, work has me a little frazzled. We've been going over a bunch of complex math stuff.
Stay
and
away
my
from
brain
that
is
bottle,
fried.
sir. Stay away from that bottle.
Yep,
But I gotta say real quick, for someone that doesn't play Pokemon. He sure does know a lot about it.
Yeah, this is good.
Mm.
We got to interrogate that one day. We got to write that down, guys.
I'll put the same disclaimer up as always.
Just collect
All
those
the
balls.
information that you just got was from like 1995 to 1997, back when
Okay.
those games were still fresh.
You still retained them. You retained them, so you really had a
It's
good time
because
with
you
them.
never forget the best and worst experiences in your life.
Yeah.
But Dead Island 2 has been a lot of fun so far. I was talking about it a little bit this weekend when I was kind of roaming around making the rounds on podcasts, as it were. But man, the very first time that you take someone's jaw off with like a pipe or something in that game is a
Gruesome.
little bit startling.
It's very
Like-
gruesome, isn't it?
Yes. You know, I thought that I was pretty desensitized to a lot of like video game violence and stuff. But when I got into that game, like the first couple times that I killed a zombie and did a finisher or something, I'm pretty sure that I was picking my jaw off the floor, because it is nuts. Like, hats off to those guys for delivering the game and getting it out the door, right? Because we've been waiting for that thing for 10 years. So the fact that that thing came out in the quality that it is, like, hats off to them for not scrapping it along the way. I know a lot of dev teams were involved in the process over time, but I'm really happy that this thing eventually made it out to consumers, because it's been a really fun experience so far. But besides that, I have been playing 2 other gems this week, because I've had a little downtime during work schedule. So obviously I can't play my normal games, but I've been playing a hell of a lot of Mahjong and Solitaire.
Nice. That's awesome.
And it has
Wow,
been
okay.
fantastic.
Man, those are the best games. Especially what's
So
that game
good.
called? Mind Weeping? Mind
Oh,
Sweep-
Minesweeper?
That's the
No.
one, yes.
Not playing a Minesweeper this
Oh,
week.
okay.
No, I downloaded Mahjong on my phone, and the thing that I discovered really fast though is that I've got a direct correlation to going to bed with playing Mahjong. So I can't play that at work during lunch break or anything, because if I do, I start getting tired. So that's not good. Like, it makes me too relaxed and peaceful, and then I want to go sleep, which is not ideal. I need to play something with a little more intensity. But yeah, that's all I've been playing recently. It's been fun. It's been fun to play anything the last couple weeks. So
The actual silent mahjong.
silent mahjong, yeah. You found my
anyway-
weakness.
You found his weakness? All right. Silent has a weakness. We got to write that down too. But, anyways, let's go right away through the flight itinerary, which we will start with a security screening for Eternal Shaddai and Ascap Gaming. So, I hope that Ascap is ready, because, hey, Ascap, we are going to throw you. And also, there is a special announcement. And we have to wait and see which it is. I don't know yet, because they don't tell me nothing, because they always find me weird and stuff. But anyways, today's opening top, we're gonna have some opening topics about Dead Island 2, Hi-Fi Rush, and we will have wait, give me a second. Xbox Floodgates of Games are opening soon, which those are the opening topics, and the main topics will be. What do you think, guys? I think we should talk about flowers today. I mean, we gotta talk about flowers. We water your flowers out. No, I'm just kidding. We're gonna talk about Shuhei Yoshida. He's gonna talk about PlayStation future and more. And last but not least, we're gonna talk about how in Sourblow's world did the CMA approve. That's gonna be both main topics. And anyways, I'm gonna pitch it now to my brother Sourblow for the security screening. Go ahead, my dear beautiful brother.
All right. Well, for the security screening, we had already Ascap as a guest, and we already had Eternal Shaddai as a guest. So I'm going to do this quick, and I'm just going to ask them 2 quick questions. So first, let me start with Ascap on the first question. And the first question is, what do you love about Xbox?
Wait, I gotta hear this.
Because oh, by the way, everyone, these 2 guys, these 2 great guys, they are part of the Xbox International team. They will be hosting the the Xbox International en español, which will air el 5 de mayo, so May the 5th. So
Okay,
go, Gascon, take it
so
away.
so I love Game Pass. I love Xbox Game Pass. The subscription is amazing. Uh, I also love the. I mean, one of the things that I like about the Xbox Game Pass and it's the how the variety that they have in their catalog, in the game catalog. You can find anything you want. You want to play a fighting game, you're gonna find it there. You're gonna find a good selection of multiplayer games there. Uh, sea of Thieves, it's one of the best multiplayers ever made, and it's available on the Game Pass subscription as well. Um, and I have an affinity with the Microsoft brand. As a matter of fact, I'm a software developer in real life, and I work with Microsoft technologies. So I have an affinity with the Microsoft brand. So it comes from a place of love. The first console that I got with my own money was an Xbox 360. It wasn't the PlayStation 2 or the PlayStation 3. It was an Xbox 360. That was the first console that I got with my own money. I have had all the consoles from the 360. The only Xbox I never owned was the original Xbox. That was the only one that I really missed because I was a PlayStation 2. But I mean, like from the 360, I have owned at some point all the Xbox. I had the fat Xbox One, the original one. I had that one. Uh, then I had a slim version of it, and this generation I started supporting the Series X.
All
So
right.
also
Yeah.
I like Phil Spencer. I believe he's a great leader.
Okay.
So, but I have some comments about it. I don't want to talk just
That's
now.
valid.
Yeah.
I think the next question, you will be able to express certain things that I know you want to talk about. But before we get to that next question, let's ask Shaddai the same question. What do you love about Xbox?
Well, what
Okay.
do I like? Well, now I have to swallow because I'm eating this. I was getting it. I was getting into Ascap. Um,
If you
the
want, I could
variety.
get back to you and ask about the other question.
No, let me. No,
If you
no,
want to
that
if you
one
want to
was
keep
very different.
swallowing.
Hey, what's up with that, bro? What's up with that, bro?
Especially,
Come
especially
on
with
now.
especially the plain thing he said like
Oh boy.
earlier.
Oh boy.
He
Come
said it,
on.
not me.
That went
Uh,
sideways real fast.
come on now. Come on now.
Whew.
No, I actually what I like about Xbox, I follow, like I said in the previous when you guys invited me, I follow Xbox since PlayStation 2 era, and I love the features that they always put, like when you have to rip your CD on the OG. So that was a really revolutionary during those days when the DVDs and music CDs were a thing, and you could save it into your hard drive, and you could play your game while you listen to the music on the background. So that was really revolutionary. But after that, I think what happened to me is just that the stuff that they were offering, um, it was unique. I never liked, how can I say, I always disliked the PlayStation controller because I felt I was gonna get carpal tunnel because it's so close to the thumbstick. So when you have it like this, all separated, it's easy to actually control everything. So then after that, it just what they offer. Now we got Game Pass, and now they have how you call it, the first party games included and all that. So pretty much like Ascap, it's just the game. It's just the Game Pass itself. But I'm not gonna say I love Phil Spencer. He's good. He's good. Management is management. But as long as you treat your consumers how it's supposed to be, Like when we ask something, you actually do it, then we talk.
Oh,
But
okay, going off of that question, I want to ask you on top of that. What is your current state with the brand?
I'm actually liking it. I'm actually liking it. I'll tell you why. There was some. I think there is because there's some things that I wish that they could have, like the snap, whatever. We could watch TV and all that. But as of right now, it's pretty much you could play everywhere. You know, now that they implemented that Azure cloud, you could play anywhere. So pretty much you could continue whatever game you have everywhere you want. So at this very moment, that's something pretty much revolutionary. But it's everything that is changed. You know, everything has changed. Everything that Microsoft couldn't do in the past, they're actually doing it right now. The only thing that we need is just only one little thing. Please release the games, damn it. Release the games. That's the only thing. But other than that, the stuff that we requested, he always on point anyway.
Just that only little thing. It feels kind of important though, but
But like I said, yes, I understand that part. But you have to do what you're supposed to do. The only thing that I'm gonna say, because I don't want to go off board, is like I understand you want to get that Activision thing, but release the game. You know what I mean? But other than that, release the games. I'm talking about first parties. The rest of it, you know, those deals, third party deals that we get, that's awesome. That's a really good deal.
all right. Well, before I ask Ascap, you know, what is his state with the brand? I know he went on Twitter. He actually expressed himself. If he gives me permission, I would like to play his audio. Is that okay with you, Ascap?
Oh, go ahead. I mean, it's in my Twitter.
Okay.
That means it's public. So yeah.
All right, I'm gonna play his audio, but as you guys heard, he's a huge fan of the brand. He really liked the brand. I just want you to know before but he's very concerned about the brand and he's very disappointed. And as you're gonna hear on the audio, so let me see if I can find. Let's see.
Oh, Sourblow taking his time.
Here we
Sourblow,
go.
you made a Louis.
So why do I have an Xbox Series X?
We can't hear it though.
Why do I have this
Yeah, we're a
console
little bit
sitting
crazy.
there in my living
Okay.
room? If in order to get the best gaming experience, I have to play my games on my PC. Why do I have that
I
console?
don't think nothing is coming.
Doesn't make sense. I'm extremely can repeat. disappointed as a
You gotta listen
consumer.
on the YouTube video.
Oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
extremely disappointed as a supporter because yes, I decided to support Microsoft on this generation just because Bethesda. And I strongly
Well, other
believe
than
that
that-
I'm being limited
During, you know,
by a less capable
playing
console like the Xbox
until
Series
summer,
S.
Actually
Doesn't make
everything
sense
together.
that the same studio that built
I think it's playing,
Deathloop, the same
Still
studio that
playing.
built Ghostwire, is having performance issues today using the same engine. Unreal 4 is not even Unreal 5. There is something that doesn't click here. And Microsoft is just focusing and focusing on the Activision acquisition that they forget that they have a community that is supporting them today. It's not fair to me as a consumer, as a gamer. I'm done with Microsoft, I'm done with Xbox.
Okay, so basically,
And I strongly believe that I'm being limited
I gotta find
by
this.
a less capable console like the Xbox Series S. Doesn't make sense.
I think I got it off. Okay, so basically, right after that, he decided to switch his Xbox Series X for PlayStation 5. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ascap.
No, that's
And-
true. I did that right the next day. I mean,
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
it was
So I understand your frustration because if you are a true fan of a of something, and they continuously disappoint you, then I can see why you did that. I know your Twitter was probably blowing up from people, some of them agreeing with you, and I'm sure you got people that disagreed with you. But
Yeah.
I want to hear from you, like, what's your state with the brand right now? A few days have passed after you did this. What is your state with the brand?
So yeah. So and just to give context to the people that uh, doesn't know me, I was full supporting Xbox this generation. The last generation, I was like, we had this scale bound situation, and I flip it, and I went directly to PlayStation 4 when that happened. But this generation, with the acquisitions that Microsoft had, Bethesda was a huge deal for me because I love Bethesda games. I decided to support the brand blindly. So it was a blind decision. Like blindly, I said like, I'm full on Xbox this generation. I believe in this project. I believe on what they're doing. Part of this was also motivated because uh, by the end of the last generation, I built my first uh, gaming PC after so many years, and playing on PC helped me to understand how valuable the Xbox ecosystem is in terms of, for example, cloud saves. So I can play on my console in my living room. I can play on my studio on my gaming PC. I can play on my bedroom in a Xbox Series S, or using cloud Xbox Cloud from any device on my bed. So that, I mean, like, play anywhere. It's attractive to consumers. In addition to that, for the people that maybe just quick background, I live in Colombia, in South America. So the Game Pass subscriptions, it's a huge deal here. I mean, like, if you have you don't have a gaming PC and you need a console, Xbox is the way to go in Colombia. Should be the way to go in Colombia because the subscription makes it more accessible for everybody. Having said that, uh, what triggered these outbursts, and by the way, I'm not justifying my actions, but this was my way to protest. It was the way how I was raising my voice to make a point. Because I don't have any. I mean, I don't have any issues owning everything. I have a Nintendo Switch. I have a gaming PC, a good one. I have a Steam Deck. I had a Series X. I could have a PlayStation 5 in addition to that, but it was a, I mean, like, it was my way to protest and to call Microsoft out about what is going on. And this was triggered by the Redfall situation, the Redfall debacle that we had a couple of weeks ago. But it wasn't just because they're releasing Redfall at 30 frames per second. Many people was saying like, you switch an Xbox for a PlayStation just for 30 frames per second? No, I didn't do that because the 30 frames per second, you need to read between the lines. There is a lot of things that doesn't make sense right now on the Microsoft estate. There is a lot of things that doesn't make sense. Now, previously I said, I love Phil Spencer as a person. I love his character. I love that he is a gamer from his heart. I love his character trail. I don't know him personally. I cannot say that he's a bad person, but the way how he actions, the way how he makes decisions, it's based more on the he's thinking on the commonwealth of the community, or that's what I presume that was the case. But what is going on right now is, I feel, and this is my personal opinion on the situation, I feel that Microsoft is losing focus right now. The whole Activision situation is distracting them. And Phil Spencer, he could be a good leader. He could have a great character, but he is a CEO. He's the CEO of Xbox Studios. So I mean, like they're distracted because all the Activision situation. I understand the magnitude of this deal, the amount of money that is in place. But I mean, like Xbox Game Studios as an entity, they need to understand that they have a community today. Now, maybe Phil Spencer, in good faith, he decided that all the studios and developers under the Xbox umbrella, they had freedom to build these games and take the time they want to take. But at the end of the day, what mattered the most to us gamers is the content. So, where is the content? And we have passed like 3 to 4 years waiting for the content, waiting for the content, waiting for the content. Xbox Game Pass is great, but the subscription or Microsoft cannot rely on a subscription full of third-party games. It's not gonna click. It's not. I mean, they're not gonna. That's not gonna come to fruition. We are seeing this the streaming wars with Netflix, with Paramount, HBO Max. Everybody biting their piece. What is gonna be the factor that decides you to get or not get a subscription? The original content. The original content is highly important for a console. And I'm talking about console because that is specifically what I was protesting about. So we have two consoles in Xbox. We have an Xbox Series X and we have an Xbox Series S. We have that distinction. One is less powerful than the other one. However, we're suffering from games being released with poor performance, and we are always debating like, should I play this on my console or should I play this on my PC? I get tired of it because that question is never. I mean, a PlayStation a gamer doesn't ask that question. They're full of content.
Right?
But they also don't really have the choice.
Yeah.
They don't have the
same time, right?
choice. Yeah, but I mean, they're full of content. I mean, we cannot deny that. I mean, like, Sony is releasing games, even with the third party. The entire Square Enix situation is unfair. I understand that, but they have the deals, and they're providing content to their community, to the people that has PlayStations.
I see Crazy's anxious to jump in, so
No,
I'm gonna let Crazy respond on what he has to
Thanks.
say.
Thanks.
I want to hear Crazy real quick.
Let me paint you a beautiful scenario, right? Let me paint you a beautiful scenario. This is gonna be simple, right? It's probably gonna take me a minute to tell you this stuff. Guys, you need to understand something. I said this before and I'll say this again. These guys are buying new studios. They are getting adjusted to having all these studios under their wing. I understand people are gonna say, "Oh, but this comes from Bethesda. They've been developing for years. They've been doing this. They've been doing that." Hey, I'm gonna say something though. I'm not happy at all about, like, for example, 30 FPS and everything that's been going on. And you say they have lost focus because they're working on the Activision Blizzard, but dude, man, they gotta focus on that thing either way because we're talking about $70 billion. I mean, I'm gonna tell you something. If we all could have a piece of that $70 billion, I'm not talking about all of us six here, not only us, but the 36 people in the chat too have a piece of those $70 billion. We would be partying, having fun, and probably be retired and gaming all day. And that's the truth. So they gotta focus on that. That's a lot of money. But yeah, I get your point on what you're saying. I know that you're mad. I know that you're furious that they're not giving us what they had to give us because they've been saying we have the most powerful consoles. We have all this stuff. We have all this and all that, and yet they're not delivering. I get all that stuff, but hey, I'm gonna tell you something though. We have to be patient, frankly, and we gotta wait. And of course, we gotta go out there. We gotta say what we have in our minds. True, we gotta say that. We gotta show them that hey, we're mad about this. So next time they don't do that mistake. But trust me, once they get everything adjusted, once they get everything on the go, we're gonna see changes, guys. We will see changes. Probably it's gonna be better. and we just have to wait. That's the sad thing.
Uh,
Sad, but we have to wait.
but Louis, let me ask. Allow me to ask you a question.
Go ahead, buddy.
So, how many times have you seen Phil Spencer apologizing in this generation
I
because the lack of
agree.
content?
I agree 100%. I agree 100%. He has to apologize. I'm gonna tell you something. Remember,
So,
we had a pandemic going on. It was horrible. Yes, we missed. They missed out a whole year pretty much. They only like let go 2 or 3 games. Okay, from last year. We got grounded. You got Pentiment. Maybe we got something else. Probably I just don't remember. But I'm gonna tell you something though. They're gonna start delivering, and they will start delivering from 2023 and beyond. We're gonna start seeing games. I just hope and cross fingers we don't get to see again this 30 FPS thing, because really that was just horrible. I even said it. They should have called it when they were giving out the demos back 4 or 5 months ago. But no, they had to call it 3 weeks prior to this release. I always said that was wrong. They should have called it a couple months ago. But hey, man, I know they're gonna get up and at 'em, because especially after this blow today, I mean, damn, that was a hard blow. That's the truth.
Yeah.
That's the
Here,
truth. That was.
yeah.
here's what I'm gonna say before I pitch it to Plume, because I know Plume was gonna jump in real quick.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Ascap made his decision, and he made his decision based on his criteria and how he plays. And I'm actually I'm kind of a little bit in the boat of Ascap. Maybe I'm not willing to jump as fast as he did, because he jumped really fast out of the boat. But what I would say this is, I myself, before I started gaming on Xbox, I played on PC, and most of the games that I played were first person shooters and RPGs and MMO RPGs, and that's the reason why, as a console, I choose Xbox. And I probably, right now, as long as PlayStation keeps delivering the same games, not that I don't like those type of games, but they're not the type of games that I would go for. I don't really need them. So that's probably the reason why I might not buy a PlayStation. But right now, I'm looking at handhelds, PCs, which they're looking pretty sexy right now. And I'm thinking to myself, if I already have a beefy PC that I can play, I just try, since I work on a PC, I got kids. I don't want to be downstairs playing on the PC. I have a Series S upstairs. I have another one. I try to game chill, because like at the end of the day, you play as a way to, like, you know kind of like entertainment. It's a way to, like, entertain yourself, and you don't want the stress and all that. And that's why a lot of us go with consoles. And that's why I decided to go with consoles this generation. If I can get a handheld and I can play everything that is on a Xbox console, then, right now I'm looking at that and I'm like, maybe I'll do that. Because the problem with Xbox right now as the brand, they're doing everything good for the casual consumer, but the hardcore consumer, like right now, that they believe on the console, and they bought the most powerful console. Like, what are you doing for them? Like, you're kind of like, you're releasing the games at 30 FPS, which, the standard, you kind of said it was going to be 60, and then you're actually not delivering, as the games are not coming. Those big games we saw in that first showcase that we wanted to see, where are they? I mean, we keep hearing, don't worry, wait, but how much do they have to wait? So that's just what I think, in my opinion. So I don't condemn anyone for jumping out of, the bandwagon. If they feel disappointed, I understand them, and it's their way of playing. If they feel that, you know PlayStation has the content for them and has the game for them, then them jumping and buying a PlayStation. it's on Xbox. That's Xbox fault at the end of the day for me. That's my opinion. But Plume, you had something to add to that?
I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot to break down on
Yeah.
that, right? Like, it could be like there's so many different things that we're talking about. But I think first of all, when it comes to like, why do people have consoles over PC? The reason people have consoles, in my opinion, is like you said, for the ease of use, the price, obviously, right? Like you're obviously
Yeah.
no matter what, it's a given. You're going to get the best performance. You're going to get the best, the highest graphics, like the highest settings, all that type of stuff on PC. That's always been a standard in gaming. It's always been the best place to play if you're looking for the highest performance of any games, right? It's always been on PC. So when people buy consoles, in my opinion, they buy them because they're convenient. It's plug and play. Their friends are on it. It's just ease of use. It's way cheaper than spending like over 2K on a PC that's going to run games at probably even more than 2K these days with the price of graphics cards that'll run games at their highest settings. So when it comes to like the whole console versus PC debate, why do you have one over the other? I think it's a lot more than just what games are on the actual device itself. We've seen so many statistics come out specifically proving that people don't buy consoles for first party games. Like the majority of people buy consoles to play third party games. That's just those are statistics that have proven that. It's not, I don't even think that's really up for debate. But when it comes to Xbox and the games and all that type of stuff, it absolutely makes sense for people to be annoyed that they haven't released first party games yet, and since 2021. That's completely understandable. I think like I think it's all down to personal preference and personal opinion and how they want to consume, when they want to consume. I know for myself, I have both a PS5, an Xbox, a Switch, a PC. I have everything, right? And even since all throughout 2022, so far throughout 2023, I turn on my Xbox almost on a daily basis just because I like the platform more. Game Pass is always giving me content to play. There's so many things about Xbox that I like better than PlayStation. I turn on my PlayStation a couple of times a year to play God of War, Spider-Man. I'm going to play Final Fantasy. Like, I'll turn on my PlayStation for that. But I don't ever think of going to my PlayStation as like my go-to home console to like literally sit down and just, if I want to check out and see if there's something available to play. I got home from work. I'm just, I want to just try something new. It's always on Xbox for me because of the value that Game Pass has provided me, and because of the ecosystem that they've literally opened up for everybody to play. One thing I will say too, with like the whole Phil Spencer thing, I agree. He's CEO. He needs to be a leader, right? He needs to like get his shit together and make sure the fans are happy, because there's definitely a lot of people that are unhappy. But the people that we see that are unhappy it's on social media. There's lots of people out there that are playing Xbox every single day that aren't pixel counting, that aren't mad about Redfall 30 FPS, that aren't mad about this, that, and the other thing, right? So I think like Xbox, what they're trying to do is very, very good for the gaming industry. I think it's far better than what PlayStation is trying to do, which is reduce access and close off ecosystems. I think that I guess we'll talk about the ABK stuff later, but I think overall, what Xbox needs to just start delivering on that first party. And I like, I'm with Louis. I think it's coming. I know it's continuously waiting. Redfall's coming out. It's going to be 30 FPS, which was unacceptable. But there will be a patch. However you want to take that. I mean, some people will be like, that's not good enough. Some people will say like, well, I'll just wait for the patch. Starfield's going to be the big one. I think like if they drop the ball in Starfield, it will be a huge, huge misstep for Xbox. But I just like have this feeling that it's going to be an incredible game. It's going to draw people to the platform. That alone will make up for a lot of people are going to forget about a lot of stuff when Starfield drops. In my opinion, I just think overall as a platform, they're doing a lot of great stuff. And for most people out there who aren't just focused on first party exclusives, focused on pixel counting games, focused on all these things that you see on social media, I think it's definitely the platform that a lot of people, once they understand what's available, Game Pass, all that stuff, they're going to gravitate towards. The way I see it. And go ahead.
No, I was
No.
gonna jump. I was gonna jump. I was gonna jump in and say something. If we see, because here's the question that everybody keeps forgetting. If you guys saw last generation, what do we have? We have nothing. Literally had nothing last generation. This generation, we're seeing all those studios they have bought. They're coming. They're going to deliver us games and all that stuff. Of course, it's taken a while. Quite frankly, the freaking pandemic came in, literally messed everything up. It messed a lot of stuff up, and a lot of issues came by because of that pandemic. But hey, if we compare this generation to last generation, I'm telling you, Xbox is changing this generation. Big major changes they are doing compared to last generation. Man, they are making big changes, and that's the truth.
It- that's true, and I acknowledge that. However, they had some hidden gems last generation, and the marketing team did nothing.
Yeah, that's another thing though that they got to
So
fix, and
so
Marketing is
we
the biggest issue at
should,
Xbox, in my opinion.
yes,
I
that's
mean,
that's the
like,
number one issue. We
listen,
know that.
one of my criticism these days on the marketing team at Xbox is that they have an answer for everything that is happening in social media, and their answer is, we have a brand new controller. It's not a brand new controller, by the way. It's a brand new theme controller. When
Yeah.
when they had these issue with Redfall, the answer was Earthay. Here you have a green controller. We had the situation today with Activision. The response was, oh, here you have Redfall theme controllers. The marketing team, it's a problem. It's it's a problem in the Xbox organization. It has never worked efficiently. Uh, these days, I was seeing pictures of advertisement in UK. They're advertising the Xbox Series S. The Xbox Series X is not doesn't appear everywhere because they're targeting. I mean, they're labeling the Xbox Series X as a premium experience, and that they did this at the beginning of this generation. They sold me the most powerful console in the industry.
Yeah, but I guess
So
my question to that is, um, what makes it like what is right? Okay, so Redfall aside, okay, Redfall is definitely a misstep. Besides
yeah,
Redfall, what is making it not the premium experience compared to PlayStation overall? Like if we're not looking at Redfall, like
Before
if you're comparing both side to side.
before you guys answer that question, I want to tackle three things real quick because we haven't even done the takeoff, and we're
Wrong
almost
round.
halfway. We're almost halfway. So first thing I
Man,
want to say to the chat, yeah, I've been great. I just want to I know acknowledge the chat, and I want to tell the chat because I do see some new people here. No matter what's your brand, you can come here, you can interact. We have no problem with that. Just make sure we keep it clean, make sure we don't offend anyone, and you can talk your opinion out if you disagree with anything we say. If you prefer a different platform, that's fine with us. We have no problem with that. But make sure we don't disrespect anyone in the chat, or we don't go with any foul language or anything like that. The other thing is, I want to say real quick, I want to announce a quick announcement, and let me see, let me get that ready. And while I get this announcement, let's see. Silent, you there, Captain?
Yep, I'm here. Sorry, I was
Okay,
on
okay,
mute.
okay. All right, let me put the, okay, real quick.
I've just been enjoying the banter.
The banner. Okay, so real quick, I wanted to announce real quick. Brothers to the End is a tournament that's gonna be organized by our friend Jose King Cobra, which he has a Spanish about. He has a channel about PUBG. Is in Spanish, but he does host a tournament. Last year, we also helped him with a huge tournament, which was 32 teams, four. And this year, he's starting this one, which is 32 teams of duels of two. And it will be May the 6th. If your guys are interested, please hit us up. There's still some space available. Even if you don't know Spanish, you can still join in. But I would like to bring it back to our captain. Captain, you ready? Let's take
Sure.
off.
Sure. Yeah. Sorry, I had to go to the bathroom, so we didn't take
He
this.
crashed. That's what happened. He crashed somewhere.
Captain had a few too many nightcaps before we got off the ground. So, ladies and gentlemen, Sour's turned on that subscribe button. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Please stow your food and beverages next to your desk, underneath your seat, or in front of you. Please take your seat and fasten your seatbelts. We also make sure that you've hit that notification bell. We gently remind you that smoking and drinking are not prohibited on this flight. However, stating that the CMA is not at all biased is strictly prohibited.
Oh,
You know who you are.
they're in the
If
chat.
you have any questions about our flight today, please don't hesitate to ask one of our flight panelists. Thank you. Back to you.
I thought you were gonna come at me
Not today.
for the thumbnail, but anyway, there was a question asked before I interrupted, and the question I believe was about Redfall. Was it Plume? You asking about?
No, I was just asking like what makes so Redfall aside, right? Because obviously like 30 FPS is like people are pissed off about that. It's unacceptable for a first party game when they promise 60 FPS. But besides that, throughout this generation so far, as an experience in the games that we're playing, like overall, what is making the PS5 a more premium experience? Just want to get Ascap's opinion on that. Just what he thought. Or not even Ascap's, anyone's opinion, honestly.
Yeah. So I just can tell you about my recent experience. I've been playing most of the. I mean, like this generation, I've been playing most on Xbox, obviously, and PC, and my Nintendo Switch. I never had the opportunity to play with the PlayStation 5. So these days that I had a PlayStation 5 for a couple of days, actually, um, some of the things that caught my attention. First, the quality of the games they're producing, and I'm just testing. Like I play Ghostwire end to end, but I believe it's the same game that we have in Xbox, the same build basically, the same experience. So it's not a flashing game, but I started like testing games to see how they look. The first game that I tested was Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut. So I miss it. I mean, like the last PlayStation 4 game that I played was The Last of Us 2. So I missed Ghost of Tsushima. I was hoping to play it on PC, but when I got the PlayStation 5 at my place, I said like, why not? So when I played that game, that is an old game, just remastered, and uh, the way how it looks and the way how they present the game, it's so clean and neat that my first thought was, damn, I wish Xbox had a game like this one. No, and it wasn't just the graphical fidelity, the experience with the dual sense with the controller. Like Plume, maybe you have played this game, but when the main character takes out the katana, you
Yeah.
feel you have the
Yeah.
feeling. I mean, like that feeling of uh, getting taking out your katana from your thing. It's you feel that in the controller, in the dual sense controller. So there is a lot of things that they innovated, but it was just a bite of the extension of the games. I tested Horizon Forbidden West. I feel myself bad because I mean, like in Twitter, I was tweeting bad about this game without actually playing it. It looks amazing. So it was like that thing that, whew, I wish Xbox had games like this. I wouldn't be mad if they remastered Rise, for example. That is an amazing looking game. They
Yeah.
would remaster that game. Man, that would be a premium experience. Uh, so it was like more like, and this is my line of thought. do I really want to play third-party games on the PlayStation 5? Maybe not. Maybe I'm gonna rely more on the original content, just like I do with the Nintendo Switch, because it's not just a situation Xbox versus PlayStation. It's what the other vendors are doing as well. I mean, I play on my Nintendo Switch original first-party content.
Yeah.
So my line of thought is the Game Pass is great. It's cool. I love the Game Pass. As a matter of fact, I'm still paying for my Game Pass subscription on PC because it's great. It's a great offer. However, I'm thinking about the future. I was thinking the other day. I was saying like, Microsoft cannot rely only on third-party content to fill up the Game Pass subscription, because what is happening? So now we have Ubisoft Plus, we have EA Access, PlayStation has PlayStation Extra. So I didn't buy any games. I mean, like Ghost of Tsushima is PlayStation Extra, Horizon Forbidden West is available on PlayStation Extras. So there are gonna be more and more subscription services. That is gonna be more of the same, and it's gonna happen to what happened to Netflix. Ran out of content because all the third-party content had a proprietary shop or a proprietary service, and they need to start producing this original content. So that was my line of thought. Like, Microsoft, with all the studios they have, they need to pull up all that original content. But that's more or less. I mean, like, I don't know if I answered your question actually, Plum.
Oh, I think that's a fair point. I don't think that I'm pretty sure everyone would agree that Xbox right now is a first party problem. I think that's pretty like they need to get that stuff together, and that's the biggest difference, obviously, between the two platforms right now is their first party content. So yeah, that makes sense.
Plume, I want to add real quick, and I hope they do have a first person party problem, but I hope, because they have a tendency of they listen to what the community say, but then I guess they listen to it too much, and I hope that they don't get out of this that we want them to make the same games that Sony are making. No, we don't want that.
No,
That's
obviously no.
strengths.
That's what actually Phil. That's what actually Phil said. They don't want to do the same thing.
Yeah,
as
I hope not, because
they said it very clear. And let me make something clear. I'm gonna jump in because I know I haven't said anything.
You haven't said anything.
I haven't said anything because I'm listening very, very carefully. Let me put it this way. Just in case, Sour, do you have what I send you?
Oh yeah, I do.
Just leave it there. Let's leave it there. Because I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, but it is what it is. For me, the PC is not the best experience ever. Sorry for a PC player, it is not the best experience ever.
Now you've done it.
Yep, I'm gonna say it honestly. It is what it is. You know why? Play it, Sour, because this is what's gonna happen. This is what usually happens. I don't want to hear it because it is like.
All right, it's playing.
Recalculate the new thruster data and relay it to Blue Oyster Cult immediately in Stancia.
Okay, roger that, Doctor. Fuck!
What's wrong?
Seriously, auto-updating now? General, I won't be able to calculate the right data for the satellite for 49 minutes.
How long till impact?
11 minutes and 44 seconds.
Fuck Microsoft!
Okay.
Fuck! Dr. Chen, recalculate the new thruster data and relay it to Blue Oyster Cult immediately in Stancia.
Okay, roger that, Doctor.
Is that actually the best experience for PC?
Don't let Kay Asante hear that.
He'll
get all over you.
He will get it. No, he will get it. So I don't want to hear that's the best experience. Because the thing is like Plume said, we all do respect. This is just I'm just teasing whatever, but we have to be realistic. But what Plume said, he is 100% correct. When you play on PC, you gotta pay for this part, the other part, so you could have what you want. So
So
But
real quick, I am gonna defend PC a little bit
but like I'm gonna say, it's
I
a
play
plug.
PC. Real
It's
quick,
a
real
plug
quick,
and play. Like Plume say, it is correct.
real quick. Yeah, console has their benefits, but also PC also has their own benefits too.
Want more
Like,
money?
no, you don't have to pay for multiplayer is the first thing. You also get games cheaper, and you get to play them at at the best version basically.
Okay. Look what
But
happened at PlayStation.
so you know you,
Look
you
what happened
basically
at PlayStation
you
when
gotta
it was
you gotta
free.
pick and choose. You gotta pick and
Okay.
choose your.
Look what happened at PlayStation when it was free internet. Let's start out with that. You know, that's what happened. Let's start out with that. This is not for a debate, but let's start off with that. And we're talking about a console, not a.
But wait. I hope you're not saying that paying it's good. I hope
If
you're
you
not.
want a better,
I hope you're not
if you-
using
wait, if you want a
that
better
narrative.
service, no, if you want a better service, you pay, right? It's like,
I don't agree with that because like you play on PC and the servers are fine. Like
So, but
there's
shall
no
I?
issue with
So,
that.
I'm just saying.
So no,
I'm just
So-
saying.
don't believe that narrative.
I think
don't
like I think this is a debate that could go on. I think there's positives to
Yep.
both.
Yeah,
That's why
exactly.
that's why I say
Right.
just leave it there. That's why I just leave it there. because
Yes,
something
yes,
else.
yes. Because
I
now
think
we're gonna.
I just want to say one more thing. I think for the average consumer, the average gamer who just wants to play video games, console is
Yeah,
the better choice for
I
them.
agree.
No,
I agree
no,
with
but
that.
that's what I'm saying. That's why
That
I'm
I
like,
agree
leave it
with.
there. That was just me. I'm like, that's just me. I just leave it there because I knew I was gonna get a lot of flack. But I knew that.
That I agree with. Plus, in PC, you can play PC Game Pass, and you can also play PlayStation games. Plus, if you want to do it, I'm not encouraging. You can also play your Nintendo games there
But
too.
let's put it this way. See
You
what
get
I
it
mean?
all.
See what I mean? He's getting me into that because if I go to Steam right now and I say I want to play, God of War 1 to 2018, I think I see two icons that says Steam and what is it, Microsoft Windows. So let's leave it like that.
It's all based on the consumer too, right? Like imagine trying to explain this to somebody who just has no idea
He
about
got me
PC or anything,
into it.
Exactly.
See?
right? But I agree. But like I said, I think it's always been the case that PC gives you the highest maximum fidelity of everything you want in a game. You want the highest performance of a video game. You play it on PC, obviously, because you can have the more powerful hardware that a console will never be able to keep up to because it's literally a quarter, half the price of what you're paying to play it on a PC, right? It's just never, and
Yeah,
it
that-
lasts
that's-
for like
that's-
6-7 years.
Right. But the reason
Yeah,
why
yeah.
I said that, personally, this is the reason why I said that because of that, is because we are going to a narrative that it makes me feel that I'm like, usually we have a conversation that consoles is for playing games. Now we're going like in a angle that we're talking about PCs. Like, okay, now we're talking about Redfall 30 frames per second, 60 frames per second. So that's a PC narrative. That's how I see it. That's something that we see, AMD and Nvidia and all that. But we supposed to be playing those games? Yes. Do they sold? They market it like, okay, the best console ever and this and that and whatever. Okay, they could say whatever they want. But as long as the image and everything is running well, who cares? Because
For
the thing
most
is, that's what I'm saying. For most people, they care about that, but that I see it that's more like a PC talk.
No, I think most people don't. I think like we get confused because we're on Twitter and we're seeing all of the console warriors going back and forth over 60, 30, this pixel, that pixel. But the average consumer, the guy who just worked 9 to 5, wants to come home and play video games, doesn't give a shit about any of that. In my opinion.
Correct. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. So, is it a next gen that we heard from Redfall? Yes. Is it? Sorry, is it their fault? Yes, because they're professional, and I know Ascap and I we were talking about in Messenger, and I'm with him because I'm a bus. You know what? I'm a bus driver. Where I work at, I'm a bus driver. The company sees me. I'm just a driver. Sees me like I'm a professional driver. And I'm like, okay, I don't have any paper, I don't have no certificate or anything like that. But they see me as a professional driver.
Hard to believe, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like Silence a
I'm
professional
with you.
pilot.
I'm with you, but hey, you have the license anyways. But
Hey, I am a professional pilot. Come on.
yeah. But you know
I've
what?
got,
You're a silent one though.
I've got dude, I've got dozens and dozens of hours in flight sim. What are you talking about?
I don't blame you. No wonder you're the captain. You're named the captain. But see, when Ascap mentioned that when he saw Redfall at 30, he really got pissed off. I'm with him on that one. I'm like, you are a professional. You study for that. You have the paper. You're supposed to know what is going on there. But yes, Sauer said, and I think it was Sauer or Louis, he said, yeah, but they never had the technology that Microsoft have. Now they're having it, so they have to learn that. Correct me if I'm wrong, or unless if you want to rephrase it.
That wasn't the way, but
That
But
wasn't
go with
But that's what I'm
wasn't
saying.
that wasn't the thing that I said.
Yeah.
You're totally trying to mix my words here, are you?
That's
I'm
what
gonna
I'm
get you
saying.
tonight.
That's why I said-
Don't be pulling on Louis right now. That's only me. I can do
Hey,
that stuff.
hey,
But
I
don't be
only
doing
said
that.
He's putting you on a
correct me.
spot.
I said correct. No, hey, I said correct me if I'm wrong.
No, what I
If
said
I'm
is
wrong,
what I said was that that these guys haven't managed so many students at the same time, and this is practically new for them. So again, like I said before, they're gonna say, "Oh, but Bethesda years." And I'm gonna be honest with you, this is new for these guys. It's gonna take them a while, but trust me, once they got everything figured out, and I hope they do, because really, that's what all we want as consumers. We want that. Even the guys on the PS side of things, they want that, because I'm gonna be honest with you, competition is good. That's the truth. That's what we want. We want Xbox to deliver great games, so PS5 can deliver even greater games. And when PS5 delivers greater games, Xbox is going to deliver way more greater games than them. So that's what we want at the end of the day, right?
The last, yeah,
Needs competition.
the one thing I will say about that though is that we have to keep in mind Xbox, they're $1 trillion company. Their executives are getting paid huge amount of money.
Yep.
So they should be on a short leash. We shouldn't be like, oh, we'll give them infinite time to figure this stuff out. Right? They got to figure it out.
Yep.
And that's just it. And if they don't figure it out, there's got to be some sort of accountability. Like I don't understand how like so many people there with like especially the marketing. It's crazy how they've
Yeah.
that's
Okay.
been lasting for so long.
And I think that was 2 years ago or something like that. Everybody kept saying it. The marketing is bad. The marketing is bad, and it's still bad. But so
Should I-
what is going on?
sorry to tell you this, but chat requests. They told me to tell you to shut up.
Shut up, exactly. Not chat. Chat is funny. Let's be honest. We got to give credit to credit where it's due. It was Phasma.
Listen,
Phasma
I
was
don't
like,
have, you know what?
man.
That lady right there, he is a Halo hater.
Oh, really?
She's my kind of people then.
Yes,
She's my kind of
right.
people.
Oh, we
But
love
she-
you,
but she
Phasma.
likes
Oh,
Destiny.
Phasma.
That's blasphemy. That's
Get
blasphemy.
Oh, man.
hey guys, so I just wanted to say a couple of things. So the first thing is for the people that is watching us, just to I just want to let you know that my criticism is not coming from a place of hate, or I just want to throw out shit on Xbox. It's not. It's coming from a place of love. Actually, I love the brand. I mean, like actually, my phone wallpaper has the Xbox logo in it. So I mean, like I have affinity by the brand. However, I mean, like I'm a gamer, so and I'm here all for the games. That's all that matters to me. Like the content I can consume, because like Sourblow was saying, this is all about entertainment. That's it. It's like what movie or what franchise I do like the most, Star Wars or Star Trek. I'm more a Star Wars guy than a Star Trek guy, but doesn't mean that I hate them.
No. Don't bring that subject, man. We don't want
DC
we don't want
over
war
Marvel.
here.
We don't want the
We
Star
don't
Trek,
want-
Star
we
Wars
don't want-
community in here.
No, dude. Don't
DC
go
over
there.
Marvel.
Leave it there. No.
And listen,
Yes.
a good friend of mine, a really close friend of mine, because I came from a group of people. We were like I don't know how many we were at the moment. Last generation, we were playing all together, and we used to play games like Destiny all night. We were starting playing like Call of Duty all night. So we came like from a huge group of people, and then we got divided because the console wars. A good friend of mine told me like, dude, you are on this situation because you wanted to be on this situation, but you have the capabilities and you had the money to have everything, so you wouldn't be in that mess. You wouldn't be feeling like you feel today, which is true. So if you have the opportunity to taste other flavors that are available out there, just do it. I mean, we don't need to marry with the brand.
Yeah.
Again, it's all about the games and the love for this hobby that we all share together.
And if you can't get all three consoles, you know, PC is there for you. You can play all the games there.
What?
Anyways, I think we should jump into some of the topics. I don't know if you guys want to start with the main topics or you want to go real quick through the opening topic. It's
That
up to
wasn't
you.
just the topic.
Dude,
I think what if you want,
it got interesting.
That was
you want-
just the
if you
introduction.
if you want,
Yeah.
I can go through the opening topics real fast, and then we can just jump into the main topics. Just give me.
I think we should trim it down a little bit. We should pick,
Yeah.
pick something.
All right, let's pick the Dead Island topic because I'm going to tell you something. I'm happy with that Dead Island. I am super happy, and I'm really happy to talk just to announce it. Really, guys, Dead Island 2 surpassed 1 million sales in its first weekend of availability, according to the publisher Deep Silver. And man, I'm gonna tell you something. I am so happy for those guys. I don't know if you all agree with me, but hey, after 10 years, pretty much it was 10 years they announced that game, they released it, and man, hands down, claps to them. Really proud of them that they actually sold 1 million copies. That's awesome. Fantastic.
Honestly, I thought that game wasn't gonna come out because it kept being announced and that it was scrapped. I thought that game was done, and then I don't know if you guys remember that Goat Simulator. I think it was 3.
Yes,
the trailer
yes.
did, which
Dude,
I thought it was Dead Island 2, and then when I saw it, I was like,
clowned on them.
oh my god.
They clowned on them so hard with that trailer, and you know what? I'll give them credit. Props to them. They had me thinking. I was like, oh my god, they redid it.
Yeah.
They're bringing out the original trailer, and then I see what it actually is. I was like, oh, you got me. Shame on me. Good job.
Yeah,
Good job.
they did a good job with that trailer.
Yeah. Dude, even when we got confirmation that game was really coming out finally, I still had doubts. I figured it was one of those situations like Star Citizen where it's like, yes, it's coming eventually, it's coming. Oh no, I promise, we're gonna get there. And it's like vaporware is kind of how I was afraid Dead Island 2 was gonna be.
Yeah.
The fact that it didn't end up being that is kind of intense, and props to Embracer, because Embracer's got them now with Deep Silver. They've got them, so props to them for supporting them to the point of actually getting that game out the door. I think there are a lot of ways in which, like, if that acquisition hadn't happened, we probably wouldn't have seen this game come out. I mean, you know, you see it happen sometimes. You look at something like the original Prey. The original Prey was another example of one that was in development for like 10 years, 8 to 10 years or something. And that one came out and to very like okay success. And this one seems like it's been a pretty positive hit. But then you've had those moments also like a Duke Nukem Forever, where the game came out and you're like, oh, dear God, I wish we had those 10 years back. And I wish you would put the money into something else, right? I think the big thing for me, any of you guys, have you played Dead Island 2 yet?
No, not yet.
None of, oh man.
Dying Light 1, does that count?
Oh my god!
I played that on 1. Yeah.
I was gonna
Uh,
ask and see, like, between the two, which one you preferred, but I guess since you guys haven't played Dying Light
Well, actually, I
Dead
like
Island
3.
2.
I like Dead Island 3. If you make 1 and 2 mix.
So
oh my god, Shaddai!
I wanna ask.
Phasma, get him!
I want to ask you guys real quick before we move on. Despite the long wait, that users, despite the long wait with Dead Island 2, basically, should other developers, learn from this and release their games when they're ready and, wait as long as possible? If you need to wait 5 years, 8 years, 10 years, just wait and release the game fully polished? Or are you guys okay with, release the game and then polish it through
Are you
with
talking about like
updates?
in the development as a whole?
Yeah, as a whole, as a whole. Like, for
Also,
example, Cyberpunk, we can put that in example. It's always brought up. Or what kind of Dead Island did, which
and
they
that's a
probably could have released it sooner, but they decided to wait.
that's a good question. You know why? Because not too long ago, uh, what came up to mind was Obsidian. So we have Obsidian that I know they created Pillars of Eternity.
You better not talk bad about
No,
City.
no, 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 no. The reason why I'm saying this is because of this, though. Because I rather have a studio that gives you, let's say, like right now, Avowed. So, but they gave us Pentiment. So that means they have that extra timing. So I would love a studio to give us something small. So for that big game to have that extra time. So I'd rather say, like you said, I'd rather have that 8 years, but give us something in between, something small, so they could have that big time for that big game. So it could be polished and whatever, so we don't have to wait or have that problem like we're having with, Redfall. I'd rather have something like that, give us something small and in between. Now you understand what I'm trying
Yeah.
to say?
All right. Any of you guys want to add to that, or?
I'm always sorry.
Oh.
I was just gonna quickly say I'm always for delays and make sure games come out polished. I'll wait
Yeah.
forever. There's so many games to play. My backlog's huge. I like playing retro, older games. I can wait for games.
Are you fine with 30 FPS, or it has to be 60?
If you delay a game for a couple months and I get a 60 frames per second version, you delay it as much as you need to.
Yeah.
Yep.
I agree. I 100% agree. And like I said before, they should have announced it months ago. But 2 weeks
Yeah.
prior, that's just wrong. And that's part of the marketing issue. Xbox, fix that. Hurry up, please. But yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, let's keep it moving then. You guys want to jump in directly to the main topics?
Yes,
Oh boy,
I think we should because, man,
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have
yeah,
a
yeah.
feeling
man.
that we're going to have a long conversation about
it-
the CMA.
Is that
Ooh,
PC
yes.
buffering, man? Is that PC buffering?
All right. Well, before we jump into the CMA, again, thank you everyone in the chat. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Please hit that like button. We would like to continue to grow and to expand and share, our love for gaming. We truly appreciate that. But anyway, before I start into the CMA, I would like to share some information of how you pronounce his first name. I know his last name is Yoshida, but
Just say your
Shoot, shoot.
Hey,
Hey, we don't know
Hey.
Yoshida is.
him Yoshida.
You're Hispanic. It should be easy for you.
Oh my God. Sourblow, don't butcher
Let's
the
just
man's
let's
name.
just say Spanish is not my first language.
I
But
mean, he's a legend.
Yoshida,
That man's
Yoshida.
a legend. Respect.
Stop crazy, okay? Stop. Let me read. So, Yoshida talked in an interview about different things. There were actually several articles. The first one, he actually talked about PlayStation Future and a little bit more about that, in which he kind of talked about. Here's his quote. He was talking about live service game, and this is what he had to say. He said, "The game industry will never cease to be a fun place. The industry keeps growing and growing, and I hope it to keep supporting and chasing creative ideas and people who tries to work on new things. You don't want to see the top 10 games every year being almost the same. All games becoming service games. That would be a bit boring for me." Which it's kind of funny because for me, I kind of see this being kind of cynical, like kind of hypocritical because we got that Sony just bought
Guys, hi.
Firewalk Studio, and they're working on at least 12 live service games. And yet, he considered that a problem. So, um, let me start with you, Silent. I see you laughing there. Is it
Oh
is
boy.
it cynical for Yoshida to say that the game chart dominated by the live service is boring, but then we see the majority of Sony future IPs are all live service games and multiplayer games? What do you have to say about that?
Sour. It's no, it's not cynical. It is not cynical if you do it. If other people do it, though, that's a different story. But
Oh,
we'll factor that he's just forgetting what the current lineup is for home team. I don't know. I mean, how do you say that seriously with all the other things that are in the works right now? Like I get it, but yeah, I don't know. The optics on that one are a little bit against him, but God bless Shuhei for going out there and saying it. Double down, double down. It's just funny timing, especially with the Firewalk Studio thing literally just happening a couple days ago. Like to come out and say something like that,
yeah,
the timing is
yeah.
That,
Well,
that's.
oh, I was gonna go to you, crazy,
Oh, okay,
actually.
okay.
So I was gonna say, due to the fact that Sony actually, if you think about it, they don't have a lot of live service games. They don't have a lot of multiplayer. Could
yet.
this be the reason? Yeah, could this be the reason why they're currently stating that? But down the line, do you see this changing once they have a couple of games that are multiplayer, or maybe some of them start hitting? Do you think the conversation will change? What is your take on that?
Ask me the question again, bro. What was content?
Well, basically, they're saying that he doesn't agree with live service games
All right.
and them dominating the chart. That was his statement.
I don't,
But then you see them making a lot of move. But right now they don't have those games. Because they don't have those games now, first, do you think that's why he's making that statement? And second, do you think that could change if they start to produce hits with these live service games?
Let me tell you something though, and about him. For what I'm seeing in the statement he made, he's not being hypocritical. What he's saying is he likes how he plays his games, because what it seems is that he likes to play games OG style, old school, right? He likes to play the single player games, go forward, have a great story. Because remember in that article, he even said, we canceled a bunch of games. That we looked at the project, we were like, let's not waste time here. Let's move over
Yeah,
here.
that's another.
Oh, okay, okay.
We'll
But
talk about that
but
also.
yeah, but I think that's what he likes about his games. He likes to sit down, enjoy a good single player story, enjoy a good, long story that he can, process, have fun with it, and stuff like that. But with multiplayer, there's just going to be service games.
But here's the thing, crazy, real quick.
Yes,
Sorry to
yes,
interrupt.
go
He
for it.
he said you say he loves those games. That's what he said.
Yeah,
But yet, like, if we look at the future of Sony, we
yeah,
got Spider-Man 2, we got Wolverine single player that we know of. After that, all the projects that we know that, at least, we know that they're working on, they're either live service
yeah.
or have a multiplayer. So
Yeah.
isn't that,
Because
kind of like the opposite of what you're
They're
kind of,
contradicting.
I was gonna get
yeah.
to that because here's the thing, though. Like I said, we're talking about Yoshi. We're talking about Yoshida, right? That's what he likes. All right, just talking about what he likes, his personal take on what he likes. But now, service game have become a thing, and it's been a thing for a long while, and it's become something that's been important, and it's been something big for the community. Like for example, you got Warzone, you got PUBG, you got Destiny, you got all these games that bring in so much people right away when there's like a new DLC or a new map or something falling. For example, also Fortnite. Fortnite is a big example. I mean, who does not love Fortnite? Should I do not answer that because you probably say it's you, but okay. But either way, though, a lot of people love Fortnite. That I'm telling you, service games are a big thing, and Sony wants to take a risk which good. I mean, you want to take a risk, go for it. I'm happy that you're taking the risk, but as long as you bring a good service game, as long as you bring something that will attract people, because that's the hard thing about service games. You got to keep them. What's that word? Sourblow actualizado. Um,
Actual,
Authorized.
no, no,
no,
no,
no,
no,
I,
no.
updated.
You have to keep those service games updated. You got to
Oh,
keep
yeah.
people, coming back to it and playing those updated versions of that game. That's the thing. And if Sony does not get to that, because right now, hey, I'm gonna say this, and I hope Shaddai doesn't come over here and hit me with the brick, because I have to say this. I mean, look what's happening with Halo, right? Halo's been having some issues. That's the truth. We
Just
gotta be
just a
honest.
few.
Just
Just
a
a
No,
few.
few.
it is
Just
true.
a
I have
few.
to agree.
Yeah,
It's,
yeah.
it's true. It's true. I
They're
mean,
doing better. They're doing a little bit better now.
okay. But anyways,
Have you played it?
me?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Wow.
What?
I have.
No, Louis, the guy behind
Wait a
you.
Like
second.
recently,
No,
recently.
hold on, hold on,
That's
hold
a
on.
Fazman
Go
would
go
say.
for it,
no.
Sada. Go for it.
Hold
Fazman
on.
would say something like that. Do you play?
Before
Go for it, Sada.
before we go wild with it,
Go for it,
yes, I
Sada.
have it. I have played it recently, and
Me
yes, it
too.
is better. It
Okay.
finally plays the way that game should have released originally.
True,
Yeah.
true.
So congratulations.
On that,
You
yes, on that.
finally got to a point where Halo feels content complete.
After 2
Good job.
years,
Well,
Good job.
But,
well,
again,
Silent,
but,
this is
but
this
I
is
have
a perfect transition for.
Look, you
For-
even say Sea of Thieves was better.
oh, Sea of Thieves
Oh,
is
Silent
way
loves
more
Sea of
better.
Thieves. Silent
Yeah,
loves
but
Sea
listen,
of
how
Thieves.
long did it
Such a
take?
Sea of
good game.
That's
Thieves.
why he was like,
Listen,
Such a good
listen,
game.
listen. Sea of Thieves is the best multiplayer that Xbox has today.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, but are you trying to
100%.
say-
That's
are you trying to
100%.
say
That's
that
that's
Halo is like 2 years, so he's a bad now he's a problem with it?
But again, like I said, if you do not
But
update it and if you do not put content on it for people to enjoy and bring them back,
I agree.
you gotta, like I said, Sony, take the risk, but please do it good.
All
If you
right,
don't,
all right.
I agree.
Let me keep it moving. So, in another statement, he talked about cancel game, which Crazy Lou already kind of talked a little bit about that. And basically, what he said was that PlayStation embraces new ideas, and many of them fail. We do a prototype, we evaluate, we decide whether to spend more time and resources, or we just stop. We cancel so many games, Yoshida said. I usually try to convince the developers that I'm trying to save them from getting stuck with this project. Which it's this is actually excellent that you guys brought up Halo, because it kind of correlates with where I'm going. So he also mentioned that people who have very strong ideas, they basically make suggestions on changes or canceling the games outright. It's kind of hard, decision to make. It's all about the talent in the industry and, trying to flourish them. And sometimes he has to make the hard decision, basically. And sometimes he has to cancel the games because maybe they got a great idea, but once they start developing, it doesn't look like the game is possible, or like maybe they're going to consume too much resources.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that he has that checkup, up front before they actually decide to go full on production on these games. So I'm gonna go ask him, and I'm gonna ask him, do you think maybe this is something that on the Xbox side, maybe they should learn from this, and maybe they should have one or two people that actually look at the projects, and even if they're passion projects, they can evaluate the projects at certain point, and there are going to be times they're going to be like, what, your idea is great, but I don't see it coming to fruition, or you have already spent X amount, and to be honest, you're kind of behind, so we might have to scrap this game. Do you think this is good for Xbox, and what's your opinion in general, Ascap?
I think it's complicated because so with an like story-based game, like Hellblade, usually you can pitch the game, the storyline to people inside the organization, and they can decide, oh, this could look great or not. We can launch it, so you can discuss that internally, uh, because it's based on the criteria that you have established internally as a studio. With the live service, it's different because it all relies on the community. So it's harder. I mean, like it's hard to launch a live service. Who judges if the live service is going to be a success or not is the audience, the community. And we have seen that. We have seen live services failing. Babylon. Uh, there is a Lost Ark. Like they don't amass that amount of communities and they just died. The project just died. So it all depends. What I believe is internally, what they should have internally as an Xbox as an organization is they need to have a deadline, and if the project is approved, they should commit to the deadlines and make it possible. Uh, it's not. It can be that situation that you have freedom to do whatever you want and you can launch it wherever you feel it's ready. They need to fill a schedule. So, but that's a different situation. At least this is what I think.
Yeah. Eternal Shaddai. Do you personally think that Xbox should have a maybe a team in charge of making the decision, evaluating, or at least helping out Matt Booty? Because I personally believe, and I have shared this. I think I have shared this with you, that Matt Booty, I believe, himself is a little bit. I think he needs help for the team. I think him himself, it's not well. He at least at what we have seen as of yet is not capable of management all those studios. So, do you think there should be like a prior checkup for these projects, or do you have any other suggestions of yourself?
Okay, let's go. Let's go back. Remember, Phil said to the public that they will have the freedom to create anything because supposedly, if I'm not mistaken, supposedly they were always in their bag. A lot of the games that supposedly they released, they were broken because of all the pressure and all that. And I think that's the reason why Phil Spencer said that. Now, if they go back how they used to, the question is, how are they, even though I know they purchased them, whatever, but the question is, how are they going to feel about that? Because some of them, I know some of them, they will say, but you gave us our word that we have that creative freedom. And now we have yourself behind us. It's common sense. It's going to be a back and forth and like, yeah, but the thing is that either the game are not fully complete and we have to delay so many times, which we have. Some of them, they're not targeted the 60 frame per second and all that. So sometimes it's common sense. Yes, you do need somebody behind you to see if you're on schedule, because sometimes if you let that person to be so free, they're gonna pretty much lay back, really lay back and like, well, we don't have anybody, so we could do whatever we want. But at the same time, we have seen how Xbox have treated us, and I'm saying because of what happened to Hi-Fi Rush with that shadow drop. When nobody is actually behind them, we just receive a quality game with Hi-Fi Rush. So now the question is like, okay, but they released this game, which is actually polished, which everybody says that. Now the question is, do you really think somebody needs behind us after they shadow drop that, which is polished? So right now, like for me personally, you should have somebody there to keep in check on the things that that needs to be released. Because right now they're getting a lot of flack. I'm sorry, but they're actually getting a lot of flack. and that's been way, way, way too long. Phil knows that, and he always says, "Believe me, I might not say anything, but I have seen the social media. Okay, now is your turn to actually make a move." We have seen pictures, and I know you've seen it when I remember with Drew Murray when it was about Perfect Dark that he was playing it. That's another thing. He was there to test to test the game for Perfect Dark. We need more of that. We need like where are you going? I think who else? I know somebody said we went. I think it was I don't know if it was Aaron Greenberg or something like that. We went to Rare and we played around. We did this. We did that. But they need more. Yeah,
I play Perfect Dark.
I okay. I'm thinking the 360. I'm thinking the 360, but I'm like,
Yes.
The first
Yes,
one,
Perfect
the
Dark.
N64 one.
No, that one was
sorry,
trash.
The go. Well, that was the
360
goal. What are you
was-
talking
sorry,
about?
that never caught my attention. 007 was the goal.
Nah,
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
nah.
The
You
man
don't want to
speaks
go
the truth
there.
right here.
Perfect Dark
Perfect Dark
had
was a screaming
way
garbage
like
pile.
no.
Do
It
you know?
was
Do you
way
understand
ahead of
why is it
time.
called Perfect Dark? Because when 007 came out, that was actually completely dark. So
Actually, Perfect Dark came later, but yeah, whatever. But anyway, to close this Yoshida segment, I want to close with the last statement, which was about AI development. In general, what he talked about, it's being a tool that everyone can use, and a lot of people are developers. Now they don't even have to learn programming anymore, and they can take advantage of this. And this is going to change the industry, and we're seeing it now with so many applications and so many software with AI that unfortunately they're taking over, and a lot of people are losing their jobs. So I wanted to go with Plume real quick, and I wanted to ask two questions. The first one is, how much will this affect the gaming industry? And do you see developers struggling to get jobs because of this?
Like AI coming in and developing games.
Yeah, well, basically, not necessarily developing games, but
Yeah, but
maybe developers using AI to develop. For example, like we seen what you can do with Hellblade, that Hellblade demo,
yeah,
where they show with the whole face. Basically,
yeah,
if you think about it, you can have just one actor or actress. They can do the mocap, and like they stated, they can use that thanks to AI, and they can put it on different faces. They can put it on
yeah,
different,
yeah,
So if you would need, let's say, you would need 20 people to do that, now you can do it with one person.
yeah.
So
No, like I
yeah,
think that's definitely going to have some sort of effect on the amount of employees these developers need. Obviously, it's going to reduce, I think, their overall development costs, and just like even if you look at things like Unreal Engine 5, there's I made a video about this last week, but the Perfect Dark, I mean, that's we were just talking about that. They're using a tool called MetaHuman on Unreal Engine 5 to actually build the characters within the game, and it's literally like a character building tool that you would see in like games that
yeah,
we create, right?
that's the same one Hellblade is using. Yep.
Yeah. So, and that I think makes it so much easier. Almost something that like we could download on our computer because you can like Unreal Engine. I don't know if you can download MetaHuman yet, but Unreal Engine, right? You could just download it and play around with it. We could even use that type of stuff based off of what I was seeing in the videos for MetaHuman. So I think that honestly, it's like anything, right? Where if you remember, like when the internet started, you really need to learn how to code and develop to create a website. And now you don't need to have any programming skills, any development skills, or anything like that to create a website, to do anything on the internet because there's so many drag and drop tools out there. I think that's going to have a way bigger effect on the development of games, on the industry, on the specialization of employees that they need for certain types of things within making games.
I I have my 2 cents on this, and as a developer myself, we are using AI today as a tool to write programs. So there is something called GitHub Copilot. It's a feature that you can use, and it uses all the entire GitHub database to have snips of things that you can use and increase your productivity. So what I see is I don't see an AI. We are not in that maturity level that the AI is gonna program all the aspects of a game. What I see is that we can slowly we're leveraging more on the technology, using the technology in our favor to increase productivity. What this could have, I mean, like something that could happen is like as a programmer, you are increasing your productivity. You're gonna need less people in your team to build a video game. So, and there are many aspects of programming in a video game. So, not just the physics, but also the motion, and so there is a lot of things that it's difficult to see an AI building a program. Also, we have artists, we have animators, so there is a lot of complexity that is really difficult for an AI to replace the teams right now. But we can use AI, of course, to increase our productivity and be more efficient.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like Ascap said, I think AI is going to reduce the cost, reduce the productivity, the people you need, but it's also going to accelerate, productivity. And I think in the long run, it's going to be great for indie developers because they can do more with less. Unfortunately, these big studios, they're going to have a lot of cuts, and a lot of these developers, they're gonna have to find other ways to like either form their own indie studios, and then we're gonna have so much like indie developers that it's going to be hard competition against with them. But anyway, I wanted to jump into our last topic. Everyone, a lot of people in the chat have been waiting for this.
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the CMA. And I just want to say, before we jumped into what happened today, a lot of things led into today that we were pretty sure that this was going to be a celebration today. As you can see in the thumbnail, we had Lena Khan and the FTC over there struggling. They were basically just going at her. She actually went for a raise, and instead of getting her raise, they were basically questioning her and her department. And you also had that, prior to this, the CMA had a basically consent that the console part of the acquisition was no concern. So because of that, a lot of us were assuming that things had shifted for Microsoft, and maybe this deal was going to go through. And then we received today the information that unfortunately that wasn't the case. Now, to be honest, real quick, I do I do have to run real quick, take a break. So I don't know if Silent or Plume can help me out with this last topic.
Dear Lord.
I gotta go break a record.
You gotta go break a record.
It's not number two. It's not number two.
What? Oh, he said it live.
He's trying to say number three. He's both.
Yeah.
It's a three. Oh.
Okay,
He
time
didn't
it.
even want to be.
Time
He
it.
didn't
Here we
even
go.
want to be seen on camera on that
Can
one.
somebody time it? Please time it, chat. If you guys can, time and see how long it takes. Please do. Please do.
Oh,
Please do.
he got up. He got
Wait,
up.
what?
Oh, yeah, he got it.
Oh, good lord.
Oh, Lord.
Sorry. I've been hanging out in chat. Chat, by the way, you guys are awesome. We've been having quite a conversation in there this
Yeah,
evening.
it's spicy.
Yeah.
It's
Touch, real quick, fill me in. Where did we end up with on Lena Khan?
I think we should throw it into Plume because Plume discussed it this morning
Yes.
so perfectly. Yeah, Plume. So please go ahead, bring the CMA subject so we can talk about that spicy thing that happened early this morning. I mean, afternoon, whatever time it was.
Well, I mean, it's simple. Like the deal's blocked. Xbox is finished. They're selling. There's no more Xbox. It's over. Right? Like, it's done.
We're all buying PS5s now. We're all buying Switches. We've given up.
Yeah,
Everything's
it's
over.
finished.
I mean,
No, Yeah, so like Silent said, so I've been just following all the news stuff around this, going through all the articles, making videos talking about everything that's going on. Basically leading up to this point, over the last month or so, I would say there was a lot of analysts, a lot of people thinking that this deal by the CMA was going to be passed, especially because when it comes to the console theory of harm, which was one of the main arguments that was brought up as to why this deal should be blocked, specifically in relation to PlayStation. The CMA came out and they said that there is no issue here. Microsoft won't be able to partially or fully foreclose PlayStation and destroy the PlayStation 5 console. So there's a lot of positivity. A lot of people thought that that meant that they were changing their tune. Because we got to remember, they already had a bunch of complaints. This was after their investigation into the deal, and they came out with three things that they were concerned about: the consoles, the cloud, and then the enforcement of this deal. And the console wasn't an issue anymore, but clearly today they blocked the deal, citing cloud gaming as the reason why, believing that they would rather have an open market right now as cloud gaming is growing, where there aren't big mergers that would stifle competition in cloud gaming. And they believe that this deal would, if Microsoft were to get Activision Blizzard, even though they've already made 10-year deals and all of this type of stuff. I don't know if I agree with their point on that, but we could talk about that after. And then the other reason they cited as well, not a lot of people are talking about, is they did say the enforcement side of things, which was the third thing they were concerned about. They were concerned about all the resources and everything that would go into enforcing the remedies that Microsoft was offering up for cloud gaming. So they blocked the deal. And from what I understand now is that they're appealing it, and this appeal process could take like all the way through to 2024, and nobody really knows what's going to happen. It's really hard to really have a prediction on any of this stuff, because all the stuff that comes out in the news, it always seems like they've been getting it wrong recently, to be completely honest. There was doom and gloom, then there's positivity, and now it's doom and gloom again. So we don't know what's going to happen, but right now the deal is blocked by the CMA. There's still the EU that has to make the decision. There's still the FTC that has to make their decision. But when it comes to the UK, they've blocked the deal, and now it's up to Microsoft to battle it out in court, basically, with their appeal, and decide what they want to do.
So here's a question I want to ask to the panel, real quick. So PlayStation, was it 3, 4, 5 days ago? When was it? Was it last week? Was it this week? Sour, can you correct me? When was it that PlayStation actually acquired a new studio and nobody questioned them for that acquiring? When was it?
Well, it's not the same, Louis.
Yeah, it's not really on the
Yeah,
same
No,
level.
it's not the
no.
same. It's not the
Sorry.
same.
I'm sorry, dude. Even though it's not the same level of purchase of money or anything, but you gotta sit down and question some things, because I'm gonna tell you something. If you're gonna question this company, we gotta question all companies on what they're buying and why they need to let them proceed. Doesn't matter what price it is, they gotta question everything, because we don't know what. I mean, seriously, if these guys, with the wording that came out yesterday, we're scared about the cloud. It's actually, it's going to do this to the competition. It's going to do that. Hey, man, I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to open more jobs for a lot of people. And this is something that if they're trying to stop it, it's not a good thing, because, hey, I'm going to tell you something. If you're not sitting down, CMA, FTC, all you guys, if you guys do not look to this little beautiful company over there in China called Tencent, if you guys do not look at Tencent is growing each and every single day. They're doing their cloud thing and they're getting bigger. Now, if you do not let other companies jump into this competition and compete, man, what are you guys doing? I mean, seriously, what are you guys there for? You gotta let this thing go through. I mean, I understand you guys have concerns. I understand everything you're trying to say, but for me, after I saw why they blocked the deal, I felt like, hey, I don't feel like this argument is like is a valid argument for them to block.
So
I,
I'm gonna disagree with you there,
all right.
and I'm gonna say this. If you think about it, this was the only like valid concern to me. It was cloud gaming. Like console to me wasn't really concerning, because even with the deal going through, PlayStation was still number one. At most, maybe Xbox could have jumped to number two, you can say, or let's say they were even like at equal feel. It's still it's still competition, but in the cloud gaming, it's something new. That's true, but that's why it's a concern, because Microsoft does has the momentum. Everyone is talking about Game Pass, And at the end of the day, sure, we're a fan of the brand. We love Game Pass, and Game Pass so far as of right now, you have nothing that you can critique. They bring out
So,
great games, whether people want to bash them or not. If they're indies, if they're double A's, if they're old games, whatever. It's a great service, and it's great for gamers. But we can never discard that if they become the dominant cloud service, that they can then take actions and do other stuff. So it's valid that it's a concern for them, and that could be a reason why. Well, that supposedly is the reason why they blocked it. What I do think is we didn't see them really like asking for like they should have publicly like or maybe they did ask for concessions, or maybe Microsoft didn't agree, but
So,
from what we've seen, they weren't like they did some concessions, but you know they could have done more, like to be like, okay, can you give us this and that, and maybe we can approve the deal
so
because we have this concern.
one thing I will say about that is, um, like I literally read through the documents. I have like streams of me like hours reading through the documents. Microsoft did make some pretty hefty concessions. Not only the 10-year deals, they also promised PlayStation, which was the main opponent of this deal, Call of Duty day and date on PlayStation Plus. That's one of the things that they said they would offer. And a lot of people like to talk about just Call of Duty, right? They offered Call of Duty and the Activision catalog of games to all of the streaming services and to PlayStation. So that's where, to me, as like
Yeah.
we're not the regulators, right? We don't know what they're thinking. We don't know what stats, what info they have behind the scenes that isn't public, right? But from somebody looking at this from an outside perspective, it doesn't completely make sense why cloud gaming, which is a nascent market, they said it's like $1.1 billion market compared to like 180 billion market in the UK for gaming. Why that would be the sole reason to block this deal. And on top of that, you look at what Microsoft is going to be able to do now if this deal doesn't go through. What's going to stop them from making a deal with Activision down the line where they don't have to even promise anything to any other company, right? You even saw Boosteroid put out a tweet saying that they disagreed with this, their employees disagreed with it. It isn't going to hurt them. They were happy with this deal going through. I think overall, generally, for most people, the way they look at it, and I'm not saying you're wrong, sorry, you could be right on this. I'm just saying like it's very
I
odd.
agree with you on that.
It's a very odd reasoning why they blocked it. So that's why so many people have questions as to
exactly, because
Listen.
you're talking to me like I was a fan of the brand. I'm not talking to you as a fan of the brand, because I'm gonna say so. If they came out with a valid explanation today, I would have been okay. Because I'm gonna tell you something though. My point of view on this deal, I'm rooting for both sides. On one side of things, right? I'm totally with Sony on what they are doing, right? I'm not saying the way they are doing is correct on what they are doing, because I'm going to tell you something. They have to put people a warning out there, because, hey, we don't want Sony out of business. None of us want that. None of us want PlayStation to go away. We don't want that. We want PlayStation to always be there, because if PlayStation is always going to be there, it's going to make Xbox better, like I said, and PlayStation will be better too. It's better to have them both out there, even Nintendo. We don't want that to happen. So I'm rooting on both sides here, right? But like I said, if they came out with a valid explanation, I would have said, "Hey, I agree with you guys. They are true. They got a good point of view." But instead of, because here's the thing that got me so confused. In 2 weeks, they have not said a peep out of anything. They've just been quiet, just to come out of nowhere and say, "Hey, we're just going to block this." Dude, you had 2 weeks to sit down and talk. If you guys had questions, why didn't you ask your questions to Microsoft? Why didn't you sit down? Why didn't you talk? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And find out what's going to happen? Because I said this again, everybody is jumping into cloud. Everybody's doing that. I mean, something that's growing super fast. And I mentioned it before, Tencent is growing super fast. And hey, a lot of them are growing super fast. So seriously, why stop this because of that? It's something that's new and it's coming out fresh. Let them do what they got to do. Oh no, they're gonna raise the price here. They're gonna raise. If you guys were afraid they were gonna raise the price of Game Pass, why didn't you sit down and talk to them? You had time to sit down and talk to them instead of saying, no, let's just block this because of this. I mean,
the,
really,
the
it's
problem
sad.
the
It's sad.
problem the problem, Louis, with uh with this is it's a decision made by uneducated people, people that doesn't know
Exactly.
anything about the industry,
Yep.
people that know nothing about video games. So how can you compete with that? I mean, like it's something that you can compete. You cannot compete with ignorance.
Nope, nope. And that's true
So
because I'll tell you something though. Look at all these tech companies. A lot of tech companies are suing them because they're trying to make deals, and all of them have been trying to stop them. I mean, look at Axon. Axon was stopped the other day, and I was like, why? A lot of these tech companies are asking, why are you guys stopping me? Because I mean, this could do better, you know. Hey, why are you stopping me? So what they do now? They're suing,
Yeah,
and guess what? At
listen.
the end of the day, they all win too. They're winning the cases. So why do they keep blocking?
Yeah, today has been a crazy day in social media, and
Yeah.
try to understand the reasons why they block this. It's like,
you know what?
It's possible.
yeah, exactly. Like what's the reasoning behind this? I mean, like actually the acquisition is not about the games or the cloud space. They want to acquire the mobile space. I mean,
Hmm.
like that's the intention. Like, the game that Microsoft is playing is that they want to have a bigger presence in the mobile space. They're after that audience.
No,
That
listen to this for my part. When I was reading this morning, the whole CMA paper when I was bored at work, they
Wait,
wrote.
wait, where'd you drive? Did you say you drove a bus? You're
Oh
reading
my
this?
God! And you read while you're driving a
Oh
bus?
my
Oh
god,
dear Lord!
poor.
Oh,
Please tell me you don't drive kids.
he's like,
No, 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 no. It's a no. I don't drive bus. I'm actually disinfecting buses,
Lord,
but
Lord,
I do drive buses, city buses,
please.
not
I
school
don't
buses.
know. I
City
don't
buses.
trust that
Lord,
now.
okay, guys, Shaddai, where do you live? Nobody go where Shaddai lives. Nobody go over there, right?
Don't worry. Don't worry.
Fastman said you can't read.
Don't worry. Don't worry about it. Ah,
Oh man.
ah. It's like, there was this part. You're funny. But there was this part that actually caught my attention when it says Microsoft already accounts for an estimated of 60 to 70% of global cloud gaming services. So I'm like, I want to know who are the leaders. I'm talking about specific on cloud. I'm like, who the heck are the leaders? All of a sudden, I see. I know I have it in here. It was like a market share. And the number one, which I have it, oh, right here, that will be Amazon, 34%, and I could send the link. It's 34%. Microsoft have 21 percent of market share. When they said, because I have it here on my phone, and then number three, it will be Google Cloud for 11%. And the thing is, I'm like, how the heck you gonna say they already have an estimate of 60 to 70% when the number one is actually Amazon.
But
Does,
wait, are you seeing to data related to the cloud infrastructure, like
what
Azure
I'm trying to
versus
say, no, what I'm
AWS?
no, I'm gonna tell you something. When they wrote that, it's like they're making. Remember, the one who's debating this is Microsoft and Sony. So pretty much, remember, they're saying you Microsoft, you own this, like you're number one in the global, when they're actually not. So you know what I mean? It's like you're saying they're uneducated. They're pretty much guessing like, no, you own 60 to 70. I just Googled it. I only Googled it.
Yeah, but I mean, like, Azure
Ascap.
is
no, no.
Azure runs that. I mean, like,
Asher is 21%. Ascap. Asher's 21%.
it does. I mean, like, still, it's not number
Ascap. No matter.
one, but I mean, like, in
Uh,
terms of what that means, I mean, like, Microsoft is well positioned in cloud because cloud is not only Azure. You have Office 360.
Yeah.
I,
So
I
there is a
understand.
lot of services. I mean, like Microsoft, it's one of
But
the
remember,
first companies that are starting offering services through the
okay.
cloud.
But
Yeah.
remember,
Uh,
who, even though remember we're centering of Microsoft because they have the X Cloud or anything like that. But we cannot. I'm this is similar to what Crazy Louis said when he said PlayStation. What did they bought? Firewall. Yeah, but it's not the scale. But I'm gonna use this for the cloud. Even though we hear a lot of Microsoft. Remember, Amazon have Luna. You might say, yeah, but we don't hear it. It's not that. They're still in it. No matter how you look at it, they're still in it. And they do have studios, and that's why I think it's called not the Lost Ark, but it's another game that is really
Lost
popular.
World or whatever.
Lost World.
Yeah.
That's really popular until this.
No,
game.
isn't it New World?
New World.
New World.
Yeah. That game, it might be one, but that's popular. But
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you
see it.
this. Turno Shaddai. Amazon, they cut their budget on that. I know that for a fact.
Yeah,
on
I mean,
the
like,
gaming division.
But I think you're talking when everybody was cutting on all fronts and everywhere.
No,
From
like
Facebook.
not too long ago, they cut their budget like hard.
yeah,
So
listen, the most, I mean,
not-
like,
yeah,
the most you think about it, the less sense it has.
Yeah, but at the same
no
time,
sense,
see,
like-
there's always something behind it. Who else is doing cloud? Nvidia now. Remember,
They got a
there's
deal.
somebody else. Huh?
They got a deal from Microsoft from this.
No, but
Yeah.
I'm talking about the cloud part. But they, like
Yeah.
you said, they have a deal, but they never made. Which it was weird that even Microsoft didn't offer to Amazon to put it on Luna, which that was kind of weird, to make it, because remember, even though you go like this, remember they offer it to
What?
PlayStation, which
I think
are the-
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what are the companies though that can actually compete with Microsoft on like a dollar scale, like Amazon, Google, right?
But remember, I understand where you're coming from. Like you're talking about in a battle type.
Yeah, like they're similar companies in terms of
Right.
their worth, right?
But since they're looking, remember, the CMA, the first thing that they say, you better give some remedies, man. You better, to make it like a playing field. We don't want, equal ground. We don't want one higher than the other, and whatever the case may be. But
Yeah.
remember, if you give it a thought, right now, the most vocal, like everybody says, is PlayStation. Okay, fine. On the console front. But also remember, even though I know I'm gonna hear like, yeah, but it's defunct. But there's a reason for it behind it, because we're talking about cloud. Google got in it, and Google is number 3 on the cloud 2 on the list. You know what I mean? So now we're talking about Google on the cloud section now. Even though you could say, yeah, but Stadia just died. But yeah, but they're probably afraid of something else behind it. But there's a possibility that Microsoft could have said, you know what, Google, okay, I heard you. Here you go. But what's the point of giving them something when they just cancel it? They just defunct the whole Stadia thing. But so you know what I mean? You got two pillars, well, I'm going to say pillars, on the first 3 that are pretty much conquering the whole world with those things.
Yeah.
Yeah, but-
The one thing is that I find interesting is that they completely just ignore. You can take that argument and then put it towards mobile. You only have 2 companies that have conquered all of mobile,
Yep.
right? And that they just ignored allowing another company to come in and compete and try to break that up and create
Yep.
more competition. That wasn't. They didn't even talk about that.
Yeah.
They were just
But
like,
wait a minute.
whatever.
But wait a minute. Probably because, if I'm not mistaken, remember Microsoft have that argument with Apple because Apple wanted it to review the whole game, and they were like, "Yo, it's the whole list, man." They're like, "Don't care.
Yeah.
That's our policy." And
Yeah.
that was when they backed off. And I know you remember that.
Yeah,
So
that big first Apple case.
right. So that I think that's the reason why they never said anything, because I think Apple was gonna tell them, "Hey, we just told them we want to review. Here is the policy. It says it right there," and they refused it.
And Apple just won the appeal in the Epic versus Apple case, like yesterday or
Oh,
2 days
that's
ago. Or
true.
something.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
But
lot of-
what you guys are not taking into account is the main reason why the CMA blocked the whole thing.
Because
And-
they want it. The way I think, before you say something, is because cloud, and I saw this on
No,
Yahoo.
no.
On Yahoo,
It wasn't because of that actually.
No,
It's-
because I'm thinking of like, cloud gaming is in the infancy, and I saw it on Yahoo Finances, right? And I saw it today, and I can send it to you.
no,
It
but
was like
I'm talking about the real reason. The
Oh,
real
no.
reason is
Sorry.
because Xbox promised Xbox International a 10-year deal of Call of Duty, so they were scared of us. Nah,
Oh, yeah,
I thought we denied that deal and said we just wanted to go to the merger.
oh, we did.
You know what?
Damn it! I didn't know that.
I blame I blame the pilot. He kind of got stalled there.
Wait,
He stalled.
let me do
I have
something.
a, I
Let me
have
do
a,
something. Let me do something real quick, guys. Shout out to this 32 people here in the
Yes.
show. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button. Please hit that bell. We really, truly love that. You guys are awesome. Keep that chat rolling. Ascap, go ahead. Take it away, my dear brother.
so I have a question for you. So what do you think Microsoft should should do next? I mean,
That's an
I know
excellent question.
they're
Great
going to
question.
appeal the decision, but I mean, like, this situation with Activision is not going to end anytime soon. So this is gonna. I mean, there is a long run still. So, but
Yeah.
what should Microsoft do
Can I
after
go on a
this?
rant?
Go.
All right. So, okay. So you kept us waiting. You kept the community waiting for what, a year and a half because of this deal. And supposedly, from what we heard, you making, Microsoft, well, Xbox look weak because of the acquisition. Now the ball is on your court, basically. You don't know when this is gonna close, if it's gonna close. So now I'm waiting and see. I want to see actually what they're gonna do, because I hope personally that regardless if this is gonna affect them or not, they gotta start releasing the games, and I hope they come out good quality. I don't ask for more. You know, at least like you said, like you promised, every quarter you will have one big game. I think you have enough studios to keep that promise until this deal either closes or doesn't close, and then you can think from there what you're gonna do. If you have to make exclusive deals, then I guess you can do that. But if not, I'm wondering, like, how much are a lot of the community is willing to wait if they want to keep playing the weak Xbox until this deal closes.
Okay, but let me ask you something else. So the community is waiting for what exactly? So let's assume that the the acquisition is completed today. The merge was done. I mean, like, the merge is done. What would you expect out of this as a gamer?
Okay. Me personally, me. I'm actually, out of the Activision Blizzard, I'm more excited for the Blizzard games because I'm a huge Blizzard fan. But what I'm waiting from Xbox is, I want to see a Vow, which is an RPG. I want to play Starfield, which is an RPG. I want to play Perfect Dark, which is a first-person shooter. I want to play. I do want to play Hellblade, but that's not my bread and butter. But I do want to see what they did, because the first one was good, but I want to see if they evolve on the combat. But mainly, Avowed, Starfield, Perfect Dark. I want to see what Blizzard brings once they joined. I want to see Outer Worlds too. I want to see these games start to come out. That's what I want to see.
So you and I, we can agree that, I mean, like, if these games, what they have to do with the Activision Blizzard acquisition? Nothing.
No, yeah, what I'm saying.
Even,
like
either
like,
if they
yeah.
I mean, either if the acquisition is approved or not, that is meaningless for us as gamers. That is meaningless for us as Xbox consumers and fans.
Yeah. I'm just running with the narrative that was going around that they were trying to look weak because of the purchase, but I'm saying that now the purchase was canceled. You don't know if it's gonna go through or not. How much are you gonna keep us waiting? I think they cannot allow us to keep waiting like 2 years, for example, or 1 year, without at least telling us, okay, this is coming next year. This is coming. Like start showing us, because if not, for me personally, PC is right there, and I can play everything on PC. I can play. I can actually downgrade from Xbox Ultimate to PC Game Pass, and I'll save $5 there. And then when PlayStation games releases, which they're not games that I'm like I need to play right away. When they release them, I can play them there. And if I really want to, I can also play Nintendo games there. And then I can also play my PC games that don't release on console. So that's my take on it. Anyone else want to jump on it?
I'm kind of. I got lost there for a moment.
Oh, I got one.
Oh, you're always lost, crazy.
Oh, no, that's true. That's true.
not
But
new.
you know, I got a question for you guys. Really, 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 really. If Microsoft is offering all this stuff, right? Okay, they offered all what they're offering. I mean, seriously, I think even they even offered to use Phil Spencer's bathroom in his office, literally.
Did they?
So I bet you they did, because seriously, they offer pretty
think-
much everything to all these guys.
I think
I'm
I
not
read
kidding.
that in the documents.
Yeah, no joke. Seriously,
did?
they offer. Yeah, they
That's,
offer all this stuff.
does it have? Is it golding the top of the?
So my question to you guys is, and this is my question: Do you think there is actually a reason for guys to block this deal, especially after all this stuff they have offered? I mean, really, why do you think it should be blocked, or why do you think it's valid for a block? Why?
This is what I think. This has never been about the games that Activision Blizzard has to offer.
Yeah,
This is about people, the audience they can reach.
yeah,
So that is actually what Microsoft is pursuing. How many people is playing on Call of Duty, and paying for microtransactions, the Candy Crush. So it has been never about the games. I actually, I mean, like, in my opinion, there are out there, they're more like sophisticated studios with better games and IPs than the ones that Activision Blizzard offered. But I mean, like, the entire deal has never been about the games, but the audience Microsoft is trying to reach.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that for sure. For Microsoft side, it's not about the games. It's about the reach. Mobile being the main thing. It's like mobile is literally everyone. I know it's not everyone, but you know what I'm trying to say, right? Like everyone, like pretty much everyone has a phone that they can play these
Yep.
games on, especially through the cloud. Is there a reason? I mean, the reason, I'm not going to speculate and think that there's a hidden reason that they're not saying. They're literally saying cloud. That's what they're saying, and I'm going to go with that. But it's weird because you sit back and think about it, and it's like, to me, blocking this deal is reducing access to games, because we
Yeah.
know now there's going to be, if you're Xbox, you're sitting there. If this deal completely, like, they don't win appeal, whatever, right? They spend $3 billion, they pay off Activision, they pay their termination fee. They have so much cash sit there. What do you think they're going to do? They're going to go out and they're going to make tons of deals, and with these deals, they're not going to play like nice anymore. They're going to make a bunch of third-party deals for Game Pass and for Xbox, which is going to reduce access. So I think they're going to do. So I think overall it hurts the gamer specifically more so than anyone else, if just as a gamer.
And I really hope to see that. I really hope to see Xbox taking a more aggressive stance.
I agree with you there,
situation.
because, like I said, I talked about this earlier. PlayStation goes out there, buys a studio. Yeah, everybody. Shh. I mean, Xbox, you should be saying, "Hey, Sony, dear buddy, come over here. So why don't you come sit here next to me, dear friend, and let's talk about that buy. I mean, why are you buying this? Let's question you this. I mean, if I can't buy this, why should you go out buying too? Because why are you buying this? Oh, is it for multiplayer? But wait, if I want to bring multiplayer or bring service games, you're not letting me. So really, why are you buying this? If you're not letting me buy this, seriously, we need
I don't know,
Microsoft.
crazy. I don't agree with that take. Cause it's like they have no.
Well,
But I do
multiplayer,
make,
so-
but he does make a lot of sense.
I do make sense, Sourbloww,
No,
because
no,
honestly,
no, it does.
Sorry,
What I-
Sourbloww,
real quick,
You're
before
talking about
before
the
I'm done,
scale. You have repeated scale. A purchase is a purchase.
Exactly.
Pretty much,
Yeah, but
doesn't matter what scale.
the thing with these purchases, they do go through like a small process. The thing is, the smaller the purchase, and in this case, Firewalks, whatever the studio is, they have no IPs. It's kind of like a brand new studio, so they're not. It's not a heavy check. They're just gonna. What I am gonna say is like, what was questionable from their end is when they bought Crunchyroll while they already owned animation.
Exactly.
That was questionable because that right there is kind of a monopoly because those are the two biggest, anime medias. That right there was
But
questionable.
I mean,
Sour,
like
sour,
the
sour.
Buying like
transaction.
Firewalk, that's
Yes,
nothing.
but this is the problem. The transaction wasn't close to the $70 billion.
Yeah, and not only that,
Exactly.
it's
So
also
that
like
That's
dimension. So
yeah,
just with
everything.
that number. So keep in mind, just with that
exactly.
number,
You guys wanna?
everybody's gonna jump in
Okay,
because it
okay.
has an impact on economy.
Okay, but wait, now I'm gonna jump into this, and I'm gonna jump into this, and this is something that is true and is out there. They were asked about their Bethesda purchase,
Yep.
yet Sony was not asked about the Bungie purchase.
Yeah, yes,
So,
they was.
where?
Yes, they was. There,
That's
yes,
that's why
they
Louis.
went through a
They
process.
they had
They
a
went through
they
a
had a
process.
discussion
Look it up.
about it, and that's why
Well, they
I
say it
mean, like
wasn't too much of
Deathloop
a
and
problem until
Ghostwire.
now. Why?
Listen, when
That
the
that Bungie
Bethesda,
purchase went smooth, and same
Mhm.
with Bethesda, right? Went smooth. Both of them went
no, it
smooth.
wasn't smooth. I mean,
No, it
like the
wasn't.
Bethesda
Yeah.
deal wasn't smooth.
I don't know, but I think I'm with Louis there
Yep.
because
You gotta ask
because
questions.
because I remember because I keep paying attention to it. And then the next day, oh, they're already purchased Bethesda. I'm like,
Exactly.
what the hell?
What?
Yeah, I'm like, where
No,
this
And
came from?
no,
and I
they
and
an-
I and,
they
and I
announced
I
they
remember. I'm with
announced
him.
they
and,
announced it they announced it before the next generation
Yeah.
was starting. Then
Yeah.
announced that deal, and was a year later that we saw all the games and the Bethesda deal closing through.
Yeah, it took time.
Yeah,
And
so
then the Bungie deal took a few months actually, like about
Bethesda took a year for sure. I don't know what.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Bethesda took a year, and then
Bungie
Bungie took like 5 months.
wait a minute, guys. I'm talking about the regulator stance. They did not ask questions on the Bethesda, and same thing with Bungie. We're talking about regulator stance.
No, they did ask question. The regulators did ask question.
that's
on that
why
one,
The
on
Louis,
thing
that
is
one, Power,
not
it is
this is
correct.
the thing is that you got to take into account because that also counts. They went through a process with Bethesda, which it went like you said, it went much smoother than this went. But then you turn around and after spending 7 billion, you spent 70. Like
that yeah,
you have to ask
the
questions.
amount of
Yeah.
the amount of money in this deal is just
Yeah,
so
Yeah, but
and-
big
Bethesda is all
that
over the place. The same thing. It's like.
And I'm not saying I agree with the CMA decision, not at all.
Right.
But
But-
it's understandable that you have to go through
I'm
a
s-
process.
Sablo, this is what I'm asking, right? If it doesn't matter what you purchase, right? It can be 70 billion. It could be 5 pesos, 10 Dominican pesos, 20 Dominican. I don't care how much it costs. You go out there, you buy something, and yet you ask all these questions. For example, I understand Microsoft, all the questions they're asking, like Ascap was saying, $70 billion deal. Of course, you can ask all the questions.
Okay,
you want. You have
let me
delivery.
put it. I
But
know where you're
wait,
going crazy, but let me
okay,
ask you this.
but
Let me
wait.
ask you this. Simple,
So-
plain and simple. If
What?
you go to your bank and you deposit $500, for example, do you think they're gonna question that?
Right now in this country, yes, they will.
Okay, but okay, you said it in that country. Okay, but
Yeah.
okay, you deposit $5. They're
Okay.
gonna question that.
No, $5 they won't question that, but they should.
Okay,
question
but then if you go deposit $20,000, or do you think? Don't you think they're gonna ask you more questions?
it. Hey, Sour, if I'm a company, they will understand that. If I'm a company. Because
Okay,
again,
but
you're talking.
but then you gotta put higher scale then.
But wait. Here we go again with the question. You're talking about depositing money. So depositing money is not the same thing as me going out there and buying a company. And
It's a
spending dollars for
transaction
that.
at the end of
It's-
the day.
Okay, it could be a
And it's
transaction. But hey,
it's an example. I'm also utilizing.
okay, Sour,
case.
you can use that as an example. But either way, though, they're
my
not. Nobody is asking questions. So why don't they ask
Anyway.
questions? They gotta ask. I'm gonna tell you. I'm sorry, Sarah, but I'm truthful with that. They gotta ask questions.
They did ask question, but anyway,
No, where?
we're not gonna
I mean,
agree with that.
I,
We're not
I
gonna
want
agree with
you.
that. But listen,
I want you
listen.
to find me an
We
article where the
Listen,
CMA during the buy.
they did, and I can find the article. They did ask questions because even Microsoft released a statement to the
Where?
CMA, a public statement to the CMA, telling them that they were going to continue supporting PlayStation 5, the
yeah.
PlayStation
Remember,
community.
remember
Oh,
we
that was
cover
when
all of
that
that.
was
There is a
when they
public
bought it.
statement
That was when they bought it right away. When they bought it, they were going to continue.
that
They
was
were
part
going.
of the. That was
That
part. That
was
was in
right
the
away.
same. No,
Right.
that
No,
was
no, that was
no.
that was in the process. That was a
Yeah,
long process. Crazy. We
yeah.
went through it. But anyway,
See,
we
even Victor Clicker agrees with me. Equal
okay.
rights. That's
Crazy,
what we want. Yeah.
crazy. Listen, we went past the time. But closing statement to anyone that wants to add anything on the CMA deal.
The only thing that I can say is the CMA asked for remedies, and they gave you the remedies, and they're still blocking. That does not make any sense. You asked for a lot of things which they did, and they still blocking. That does not make any sense. But
Yeah.
will that affect the FTC after the LinaCon thing? Because remember, there is a lot of monopoly thing and whatever the case may be. That's to be seen, man. I don't know if whatever the CMA decision is going to affect the FTC, even though they say they're going to keep continuing no matter what. But I want to see
Yeah,
that.
Wait. Here's a question. Game Shark is asking a question real quick. It says, if Microsoft can't buy ABK, who can and why would it be okay?
Sega.
Wait, you think Sega could buy ABK?
No.
Oh my god! I was just kidding. Oh my god! Did he just
There's-
pull a Louis? He
There's
pulled a
probably
Louis.
two companies
No,
that are.
isn't that the question?
No.
Who can buy ABK?
Yeah, he says, would it be okay? I mean, if who can buy and
No,
would it? And
if-
why would it be okay?
If they could buy ABK, I mean,
Yeah.
I think we know exactly what the answer is to that one, right? Like we've experienced it this evening. Is some companies could buy ABK, and apparently they would get the thumbs up. From what we can tell, it kind of seems like there's maybe some heavy-handedness on the stance for or against certain companies. And I'm not going to throw a bunch of names out there. I think we all know exactly what we're talking about here. But I think today showed us something. I think today showed us that the people who made the decision were not impartial to the decision.
Exactly.
Correct.
And I think the other thing is relationships that maybe were there previously influence the decisions made currently or in the future.
Yeah.
I think those are the two things I'll say with it.
Yep. And I agree with that with Silent.
Yeah.
I agree with that with Silent.
100%.
guys,
100%.
I need to go, but before leaving, first I want to thank you for the space, for all the jokes and the jokes from the people in the chat. Also, this all coming from a place of love, and I just wanted to share my last comment on this. Is I really hope that Microsoft redirects their view and their focus on the gaming community. And I mean, like, it's too distracting. I mean, like, this whole deal with the ABK, what we're seeing today, I mean, it's gonna be a letdown for the community, even when they are not gonna get anything out of it. So it's just distracting, and I really hope, I mean, for the best for Xbox as one of the brands that I really love.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I agree with
Before you go,
Yeah.
can you tell everyone where we can find you?
Exactly.
You can you can find me and hate me in Twitter on Ascap Gaming. That is my Twitter account. So thank you for the support.
Well, Ascap, thank you so much for coming, for accepting the invitation, and thank you so much for being part of the Xbox International.
Yeah,
Great.
thanks, man.
Thanks,
Thanks, man.
Looking
Have a good
forward
one.
to
Good,
working
man.
with you in the
Good to meet you.
future.
See you next Friday.
Yes.
You
Hey.
forgot to announce
Yeah.
that, Ascap.
All
See you.
right.
All right. Bye,
Later.
Scott. Thank you for joining us, man. Thank you for joining us. But hey, man, on the whole BK deal things, I mean, just to end on a final note, I mean, I was surprised today that they said on how they said no and what they grabbed to say no. I don't agree with that. I'm not happy with that. I mean, I as a person think that because again, if they had a valid decision, a valid questionable fact, I would agree with them 100%. But with all the stuff they said, I'm like, okay, I basically did not understand, especially how Microsoft offered everything, even Phil Spencer's bathroom, you can use it, everything. I mean, literally everything, and you guys said no. No, I mean, I was like, okay, all right. So let's see what happens after this appeal. And this, quite frankly, which sucks because I mean, I can say something, and this is something that's been going on for such a long time. I mean, when did we start
Yeah,
talking about this? Like the third episode of XBI. I mean, we've been talking about
that's
this
crazy.
thing, and it's gonna take such a long time. And I just really want this deal just to finally close, or just let it go and move on forward. That's what I want. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's time to land the plane. Crazy.
Yeah. All right. Let's sign that plane. Anything else extra with ABK? Sound you're good. Plume, you're good.
I mean, I could talk about it for days, but we
I'm
gotta
just
we gotta let it
stretching.
play.
I'm just stretching.
Yeah, but Shaddai, you want to say one more thing before we go? Are we good?
No, I'm just stretching. That's all.
Oh, you just okay. Well, guys, it's been one amazing episode, one amazing argument. Sour blow, he said the deal approved 4 days earlier, and man, because of sour blow, I have lost some stock. Thank you, sour blow. I'm gonna charge you for that stock I have lost. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, brother. But hey, let us start right away and let's say thank you to Shaddai and thank you to Ascap for joining us today. Very, very awesome episode. Shaddai, let's start with you since you are our awesome guest. Please tell everybody where they can find you, brother.
Yo, everybody found me here. That's pretty much. No, but other than that, people can find me on the Xbox console, Twitter, and on Twitch since I stream on Tuesdays and Thursdays, Saturday and Friday. I mean, Saturday and Sundays. But also, just to keep it out there again, Friday is going to be the first episode of XBI en Español. So just in case, they're like, what this is en español? In Spanish, just in case.
Wait, isn't it not this Friday though, right?
No, it is.
No.
No, next Friday.
It's
All right.
next Friday.
Yeah.
This
Okay, right.
this ABK thing got me all burned out. But anyways, you know what I mean. Mayo Cinco de Mayo, so everybody bring their tacos and whatever, go to Taco Bell ahead of time. But anyways, other than that, you can find me there. And actually, this was actually fun. It was actually fun, and I know I said some things kind of fanboyism, but it was all jokes aside. But in reality, it's a shame that we all heard about this.
Yeah. It's hard. It's hard. But anyways, you're about to get Phasma on your case. She was about to say, "Shut up, shut up." No, I'm just kidding. But either way, though,
Yeah, I saw it.
he was about to say it. But either way, though, Sour Blow. Please tell everybody where they can find you, you handsome Lionel Richie dude.
Oh, well, you can find me here, of course, every Wednesday, and the Spotify version should come out Saturday. I try my best. Sometimes I'm late on that. I also wanted to announce real quick, just so everyone know, I will be releasing very soon some what's the name? Flight status video, which I'm gonna talk basically give several updates of things that we are working behind the scenes. So stay tuned. There's gonna be several of them coming. They're just gonna come up randomly. No dates on those.
All right, Mr. Big Plume, man. You had such a busy day. You had such a busy morning. And thank you, brother, for joining us tonight on this awesome episode, brother. Please tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me in the usual places: Plume Network on YouTube, Twitter, two best places, and here on XBI.
All right. And last but not least, our handsome, sexy voice captain, Silent Cypher. Please tell everybody where they can find you, brother.
All right. Well, you can find me here on the microphone now. After all the chaos
Mute
has
him! Mute
subsided.
him! Yeah,
Um,
because supposedly I'm with the bad jokes.
It's
Nah, mute him, man.
man. I gotta say, chat. Thank you so much for the very entertaining conversation today. It was a lot of fun hanging out with you guys in there. I feel like since we had so many people on today, I was like, you know what? I'm gonna hang out in the chat. And chat, you did not disappoint, both in positive and maybe a few negative waves. Well, but whatever the case is, thank you so much. And should I thank you so much? I'm super stoked that you're part of the family now, and of
Thank
course
you,
to
thank
Ascap, as he's already left. But anyways, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be doing content with you guys, and I look forward to some collaboration in the future for sure.
Well, are you ready for the Spanish part?
Yes, my Google Translate is ready.
Let me guess. You're gonna have that speaker really, really loud. So
Dude, I'll tell you, man, that app on the phone is pretty quick nowadays. Like I can record that, and it's translating like a charm.
Plume, you're next. Don't laugh. You're next. Too,
Oh
man.
no, I have it ready. I'll be in the chat. I'll be speaking Spanish in the
He's
chat.
ready.
He will copy paste that fast.
All I know is when you see in the chat, yo tengo un gato en mis pantalones, and you see that repeat itself again and
That
again.
was me.
That was fun.
Yeah, that's actually
But,
true. That's actually true. He actually said that.
But yeah, so as far as where you can find me and stuff, I'm keeping it kind of low key this week. Last week I was all over the place. Shout out to Asante and those guys, Everborn, and also Web Dave having me on Sunday. It was a lot of fun hanging out with those guys over the last couple days. Retri. Last week was a busy week, especially going into the chaos that we discovered today. I think most of what I said last week doesn't really hold up. That sucks, but sometimes you take the L. But in regards to where you'll find me this week, obviously you'll find me just hanging out on Twitter. You'll find me hopefully on TikTok. I've got a video coming up here in a day or two. My son sabotaged one of the ones I was trying to do earlier this week, so I've got to try and figure out how to do the next one. But yeah, besides that, you'll see me here next week at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with Sour and Crazy once again on XBI.
All right. And where can you find the crazy one? It's super easy. You can find me at Twitter at Crazy Louis Gaming, where I say good morning and do all sorts of crazy stuff. Which, yes, I will be sooner or later coming back with all those good morning videos. I was gonna do one this morning, but hey, I was actually a little bit sad because you know what happened today. But either way though, we were a bit sad. So I don't know. I did not know how I was gonna pitch that good morning video. It's gonna be hard. But either you can find me, like I said, on Twitter, Crazy Louis Gaming. Find me on Mondays at the Xbox Lunch Break Special at the Double Barrel Gaming YouTube channel with Mr. Boomstick, Mr. Web Dave, and Mr. Fuzzy Belvedere. On Tuesdays and sometimes Thursdays and sometimes whenever you can find me at Playing with Crazy here on the Xbox International Podcast channel, where I play scary video games so people can see me jump, be scared, throw away the microphone, and probably run away from the screen. Yes, you guys can have fun joining me and Playing with Crazy. And last but not least, here, Wednesdays, Xbox International Podcast, 7 p.m. ET, hanging out with my brothers Sourblow, the Big Plume, and Silent Cypher, talking about what's going on in the gaming world each and every single week. And guys, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and also
Oh!
Oh, I was just testing timeouts. Oh, okay. Testing the timeouts. It works perfectly. Okay, you ready?
Because it's such
Hey,
a groove,
crazy.
dude.
This is a PG content.
I don't
What's
give a
wrong
crap.
with that?
This is a stone cold set, flick off for you. But anyways, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, also hit that bell so it can tell you when XBI content comes on. And like I always say, remember, remember, remember. Let's go, let's rock, and let's get crazy. Yes, see you all next Wednesday. Bye bye. Love
Nos
you all, chat. You
vemos.
guys are
Love you
awesome.
guys. Take care.
Adios.
Have a good one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've arrived at our destination. For your safety and comfort, please remain seated with your seatbelt fastened until the captain turns off this live stream. On behalf of Xbox International, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this trip, and we're looking forward to seeing you aboard next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.